Evening and good morning to everyone. This is SAP ARIBA demo session, and over to you, Manoj. We can start with the presentation now. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Nikita, for the introduction. Let us start our session, guys, without any waiting. But before we start, a few things we need to understand with ourselves. So, the first and foremost thing is like we have been doing this training for the last almost 5 years. From 2017, we have done this training, and we have trained somewhere around 2,800 plus participants till now, specifically in Ariba. And the major thing, if you look at our training, what we basically want to do is basically impart you the knowledge on Ariba, which will help you to work in the project. It's very, very different from the normal training which you have seen in SAP over there. Why? Because if you go to the market, you will find a lot of trainers who is basically giving you theoretical knowledge. Theoretical knowledge sounds good. Everybody likes it because it has a structure. Not in our case, because the thing which I have noticed till now is basically if you are having theoretical knowledge, when you go to a project, what happens is like you are faced with real business issues. And with the real business issues, what happens is like you have to resolve those issues. So it's not just the theoretical knowledge, it's practical knowledge and the application of practical knowledge. These are the two major things which is required in a Ariba project. And at the end of the day, all of you have to work in a Ariba project to earn the salary. Theoretical knowledge is good to show, but it is of no value. Now, another thing which I have noticed is like many of the participants, they're basically coming from the background of MM or SRM. Myself, I have worked in SRM and then I migrated to Ariba. So I can understand the issues firsthand. So what happens is like when you move or when you work in on-premise solution of SAP, you will have a certain mindset. And when you come to Ariba, it will almost be same. But Ariba is not a on-premise solution. It's a cloud solution. And specifically, please remember this thing because whenever I meet some Ariba consultant, they always say Ariba is a SAP product. Wrong. Ariba was formed in 1996. It was an on-premise solution. In 2010, they launched their cloud solution. Okay, so please remember that 1996, Ariba used to sell on-premise solution. 2010, not 20, sorry, 2010. That is where when Ariba switched from on-premise to on cloud. Very good. SAP acquired Ariba when? In September 2012. Now, I think all of you can do the math over here. What is the math? That if the product was launched in 2010, that means it must have been developed from 2007, 2008 onwards. SAP bought out Ariba in September 2012. That means this product of Ariba, which we are seeing right now, its base structure was done by Ariba when it was a non-SAP company. So if you are having a mindset that, oh, the background, the SRM background, same background of Ariba, wrong. Yes, on a functional process, if you say Manoj, procurement is ho raha hai na, only procurement is happening. Yes, I will say yes on a high level procurement, but we have to remember the way of configuration, way of integration will be totally different. So that means if you are to become a good SAP Ariba consultant, what does it mean? It means you have to unlearn MM and SRM. And trust me, guys, I also made the mistake. When I moved from SRM to Ariba, I was thinking it is the same. I was proven wrong within one project only, a first project. So these are the things which basically motivated us, so that the wrong which I did, our participant, actually, none of you are trainees over here. You are basically mentorees, and I'm mentoring you so that you should not do these mistakes. So, this session on Ariba is nothing but my experience in working in the different Ariba project for the last 8 years. That's it, nothing else. So, that is why our sessions are very different. Okay, so this is the introduction, and I think all of you guys know me. I'm Manoj. I'm having almost 18 years of experience in SAP, and for the last 8 years, I've been working in Ariba. Apart from Ariba, I also work on Fieldglass because Ariba and Fieldglass are closely related to each other. And before that, I was working in SRM, and I started my career in SAP only. Yeah, for a long time, I did work on SRM, and when I migrated to Ariba, faced some issues with the mindset, and then understood that what is required so that we can have a successful project on Ariba. What are the different things? So that is why the first and foremost thing which you can see is a blank notepad which I have opened. Huh? Why? Because see, we are talking about practical knowledge. We are not talking about theoretical knowledge. Okay. Now, few things. Remember, this will not be valid just for today's session. That means not only for demo session, but for every session. Every session. That is, first I will show you the content. Okay, these are the things which I will cover. Within that time, if you're having any queries, please write it down in some pen and paper. After that, we will have the question answer session. During that question answer session, you ask me your queries. Otherwise, what will happen? It will become like a bazaar. Exactly. It will become like a bazaar. So we should not do it like that. That's it. Okay. So that is the only rule which we follow. Otherwise, it will become like a bazaar which we don't want. Okay. That's it. Nothing else. Okay. Very good. So enough of this talking and all those things. Let's go into Ariba. Excuse me. Now, what is a SAP Ariba solution? When I talk about SAP Ariba solution, what happens is like majority of the uh, what you can say, majority of the consultant, what they always say to me, that it's a procurement solution, or we can do advanced procurement, collaboration with the supplier. So big terms. Why not simplify it? So procurement focused software. Now, why majority of the client is moving from MM or SRM to that of Ariba? Why they're moving their procurement? Because because based on cloud. So majority of the Ariba functional consultant, if I ask them that why their client is moving from MM or SRM to that of Ariba, they will say good user interface, advanced technology, okay, these things, etc. Then I will immediately say wrong. You go to your client, have a talk with them. You will easily understand what's the motivation behind moving from MM or SRM to that of Ariba. Excuse me. So the first motivation is SRM is going to be made obsolete by 2025. After that, there is no support from SAP. It's a big deal. Remember, for a client, it's a big deal. Why? Because they will not have any support. Just like, for example, you buy a laptop. Think about you are buying a laptop. It's a costly laptop. $3,000 you have paid. Now, after 1 year, its warranty is getting over. What you will do? You will say, no, I will pay another 200K, $200, or maybe $300, or maybe even $500, just to extend my warranty from 1 year to that of 3 years. Why? Because you have bought a expensive product and you're going to use it extensively. So support must be provided. Something happens, there will be issues. So the same thing also for the client. So if they are not getting support from SAP, they will try to basically replace that product. Second thing, cost. Now the cost is basically on-premise system means what? Client needs to have a software, a server. Huge cost, not only for buying it but also for maintaining it. Why? Because it need electricity, it will need a space, secured space. AC must be there, dust particle must not be there. It will need a network manager, network administrator who will look after it. Periodically it will need upgradation of RAM and other things. All of these things are very very costly to the client. They will switch to Ariba. Now Ariba is on cloud solution just like Gmail. For Gmail, how will you access it? Do you need any software to be installed? No. Just you need an internet connection, open up a browser, give the URL, that's it. Give the user ID password. You will be using the services. Same thing. So for Ariba, client does not need to maintain any application server. Neither they have to install any application within their application server. So that means that server buying cost and upkeep cost and maintenance cost, zero, which is a huge cost. That is why majority of the client are moving from or SRM to that of Ariba. Even though they are having S4, what they are doing? Oh, invoice reconciliation and payment. That's it. That's the major thing. That's the main thing. Now, some of you guys will basically tell me that Manoj, ऐसा नहीं होता है. It's not like that. There are certain other things. Okay, what are the other things? Like we will do the commerce automation from S4 side, and the normal other indirect procurement we will do it with respect to Ariba. Again, again, yes, that was the rule in 2016, 2015. Not now. Ariba has changed drastically from 2020 onwards. Exactly. So you should be very, very focused on this thing. Okay. So in short, why majority of the client is moving from or SRM to that of Ariba? Because of the cost and the support. Just like, for example, will you buy a 5-year-old laptop? Nobody will buy it. Why? Because first and foremost thing, that technology is obsolete. You will not get a spare part for that laptop if it gets any issue. Second thing is that you will not get any support. Even though if somebody tries to give you a MacBook which is 4 years old, you will not buy it. You will buy either this year version or the previous year. Maximum is the previous year, 2021 version. Nobody will buy before that. Why? No support, no spare part. Same thing with the client. So please don't think functional UI is great, software is great. No, those are the secondary things. These are the primary thing. Okay. Now, whenever we talk about Ariba, we will talk about Ariba solutions. Now, Ariba solutions is divided into upstream and downstream. Yeah, some of you guys will call this thing as strategic sourcing solution, and some of you will basically call it as buying and invoicing. Now, they are the same. Please don't think, oh, strategic sourcing solution upstream, buying and invoicing downstream. Okay. Now, first and foremost thing, when you're going into Ariba and you're, understanding about the solution, you need to understand that what architecture has been used before. All of you will say, Manoj, why you're talking about the architecture? What's the reason you're talking about architecture? The architecture is very simple, guys. Upstream and downstream is having separate databases. Now, this is not common knowledge. Why? Because only those employees who are working in the Ariba company and within that also engineering department, they will know this thing. Now, I am not working in Ariba engineering department. I'm working in a big four organization. But few of my friends work over there. From them only I came to know. And they also told me that what's the difference between upstream and downstream? Upstream and downstream is having separate databases. Separate databases means what? Just like one computer to another computer. If you're having a separate computer, can you send the data immediately like normal? Just like you share the data between one drive to another drive of your computer? The answer is no. You will need internet, network to send a file from one system to another system. Same thing over here. Upstream is having a separate database, downstream is having a separate database. That you should understand. In today's demo only you will understand that why I was telling there are two separate databases. Okay, so let us go into upstream. Excuse me. So in upstream solution, the first and foremost thing which you will be seeing is sourcing module. Now sourcing means what? RFQ. That means request for proposal, request for information, these are the things. All of you will say yes. So what does it actually means? It means finding the best source of solution. Sorry, best source of best source of supply. Very good. Now, now when we will go over here, majority of you will say, Manoj, yes, that is what we do in sourcing, finding the best source of supply. That means, okay, this product I will buy from the supplier who is giving me a very good quality and what? At a very good price. Very good, Manoj. But what kind of products I can have in RFQ? This is a tricky question. This is a very tricky question. Huh? Why? Why is it so much? Why this is a tricky question? Because remember, when you are going into when you are going into SRM, remember one thing. And what is that one thing? That what kind of product you can add? You can say, Manoj, I can add free text item. Free text means you will define the item. Very good. Can you add any materials and services? Yes, Manoj, I can do that. Same thing we can also do it in Ariba. No, you cannot do that. Why? Because two different databases. Now, free text items. What does it actually means? Free text item actually means, in our Ariba terminology, non-catalog items. Okay, so free text item matlab non-catalog items. Yes. Now, acha Manoj, what about the pre-existing materials and services? So in Ariba, we don't have it. Now some of you are going to again say, Arey Manoj, why you're saying wrong? We can have item master, right? That means material master also we can bring. The thing is like, guys, first and foremost thing, all of you should be very, very clear on one part. Excuse me. Yes, you can bring it. Now, for example, I'm in Delhi. I want to go to Mumbai to attend a meeting. Okay, tomorrow. What I will do? Will I take a Rajdhani train? Will I go by car? Or will I take a flight? Which one? Now, all of you are thinking, yes, Manoj, tomorrow you have to go. No brainer. Take a flight. Take a flight. You want to go by road, you will reach maybe on Tuesday. Because after, driving your car for 9 to 10 hours, it will heat up. You have to basically stop it, rest it for 1 hour maybe. You also cannot drive on for 24 hours, right? You have to take break in between. Okay, so car is ruled out. Very good. What about train? So we will have train at 4 p.m. today. It will reach when? Maybe at 11 a.m. or 12 a.m. Sorry, 12 p.m. But we are having the meeting at 10 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. So Manoj, I think train won't work. Flight? Yes, it will work. Take a flight today. Even if I reach at 11:30 p.m. or 12 o'clock in the night also, not an issue. Tomorrow morning I will wake up. Immediately I will go to the office and have a meeting in Mumbai. Why? See, if you would have asked me this question, you know, 30 years ago, when obviously I was a kid, okay, then at that point of time, taking flight would have been very, very costly. You would have told, alright, boss, no, 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 not on Monday, maybe on Wednesday. Or if you want to keep the meeting on Monday, then I will do the journey on Friday only. By Saturday, I will reach, Sunday, I will stay in the hotel, Monday, then I will attend the meeting. But right now, we are having much more better solution. That is why we are migrated to flight. Same thing over here. So yes, item master is available. Materials and services, you can bring it from your S4 or your ECC to that of Ariba. But why you will do the same thing? Ariba is advanced software. So that is where Ariba solutions comes into picture, and that particular solution is called as what? Catalogs. And we call them as catalog items. Okay. So that means now, what do you mean by this terminology? Pre-existing product and service. अरे मनोज मतलब क्या है? Pre-existing products and services. They are in materials and services only. Now, Ariba gives you a very good option of catalogs. Why? You can upload image. You can capture more information about the product, about the services. So your end user will get much more information about the product. They can see the picture. Oh, very good. Oh, I know which product to buy. So when you're migrating from a legacy system to that of a specialized system, these are the featured functionality addition which this new age software gives. So you just should not basically say I have used the material master, same thing I will do it in Ariba. Your end user will say, hey, same information in MM, same information in Ariba. I cannot see more information. I cannot see a picture. Why I will use it? Your client will say, boss, you have to use it. Higher management of the client will say you have to use it to their end user. There is no other option. But my point is, why you will implement Ariba with or from the point of view of SRM or MM, implement Ariba with respect to Ariba. Exactly. So that means pre-existing products and services are nothing but the materials and services, which we will create as a catalog items. Very good. Now we should understand what is upstream, what is downstream. Huh? Yes. So what is upstream? So since this is free text item, non-catalog item, that means what? Will you know from which supplier and which buyer, which supplier and what price you will buy it? You have never buy this product before because this is a free text item. So in upstream, you will find and finalize the best source of supply. Excuse me. For non-catalog items. Okay, very good. What about in downstream? Here we will do mainly operational procurement, which means what? Now you understand what is the meaning of upstream and downstream? See, if you can basically understand that upstream and downstream is a separate database, you will have no issues in understanding that upstream means what. Non-catalog item means free text item because we have never bought a free text item before. So we have to know the price, we have to know the supplier at least. Without that, will you go to the purchase equation level? Now some of you will say, yes, Manoj, we can add free text item in the PR. Yes, that is urgent procurement. Out of 100% of your procurement, you can have 5 to 6% of your procurement or maximum 10% of your procurement as urgent procurement. And that too with special approval. 90% of your procurement, your client will basically say, ki boss, don't allow. Don't allow. Otherwise, what will happen? I'm having MacBook from Apple. I'm having Acer laptop. I'm having HP laptop. I'm having Dell laptop. Nobody will order any laptop apart from MacBook. Everybody would like to have a MacBook. Why? Because it's a social status. Everybody wants to basically use the best product. So they will use that. But according to your client's policy, only the higher management of your client will use MacBook. Everybody else, Dell, HP, Lenovo. So if they can't get access to that particular product, what they will do, they will basically create a free text item. There basically will say, oh, MacBook Pro 16 inch with all the upgrade, 4 terabyte of hard disk, with a new graphics card. Okay. Uh, uh, 32 GB RAM. And then what will happen? $5,000. The bill will come 5,000 to $5,500 for that laptop. Yeah. And they will basically write like this. They will add the Apple supplier and they will order it. So that is why I'm not talking about urgent procurement. Normal procurement, which is 95%, 90 to 95% of the thing which you have to implement, you just cannot allow a supplier to create a PR with non-catalog item. Your client will always say, boss, you want to buy non-catalog item? Not an issue. You want to buy non-catalog / free text item? Not an issue. Please do it. But first do a sourcing. Call different suppliers. Let the supplier give the bid. Then you decide, okay, based on the quality and the price, which one is the best supplier. Once you do that, you finalize that deal with the supplier with the help of a contract. Once you do that thing, this contract you can use to create a PR. Why? Because let's say, for example, you have signed a contract with the supplier for $5 million for the next 5 years. So your end user will start using the contract by creating PR against that contract. That is the process. That is the process. So that means the process will always start from upstream. Lot of ARIBA functional consultant, whenever they come to a project where both upstream and downstream is there, all of the projects are having upstream plus downstream. Excuse me. All means 90 to 95%. 5% will be a little bit different. Now, ARIBA consultant generally asks me, Manoj, why we will begin with upstream? Why not we cannot go into downstream? Then I will say, first and foremost thing, tell me what you are procuring, non-catalog item or catalog item. If it is non-catalog item, you have to begin with upstream. Why? Because you don't have a source of supply. You need to find the best source of supply and finalize it. That is what we do in upstream. Now on the other hand, if you say to me, Are Manoj, pre-existing products and services, catalog item. So then I will say, you come to downstream. Don't go to upstream. So in that case, we are doing operational procurement. That means what? Catalog items or basically the normal materials and services means what? Those are pre-existing in the system. We have bought it before. So we know from which supplier we will buy and what price. Directly we can create a PR. So that is where the best thing is. You don't need to have a PIR. You don't need to have a material master. You don't need to link multiple documents with each other. In catalogs, what will happen? You will have the material or the services, you will have the unit price, you will have the supplier details, you will have the picture. So that means, Manoj, in catalog, whatever things is there, we can directly go and add it in the PR. And all this mandatory information will come from the catalog information regarding the items. Exactly. That is why I will say, don't use item master. I have never used item master in any of my project. And I also don't understand that why other Ariba consultant says I will use it. I don't find any advantage over using that thing. You are having a flight versus train. What you will do? You will prefer to use the flight. Excuse me. Same thing over here. So now, since in your catalog you are already knowing what is the source of supply, what you will do? You will directly go to the PR. Create a PR, submit it for approval. Once it is approved, PO will be created. Now this PO will go to the supplier. Supplier will deliver you the product. Once that delivery happens, you will do the GR. After that, what? payment to the supplier, done. That is what it is happening in downstream. Now, if I go into sourcing and ask which kind of product we will include, now here, please don't say to me, Manoj, catalog item as well as non-catalog item. I am specifically saying कि catalog item boss will be present only in downstream, and in upstream you will have only non-catalog item. So upstream within the sourcing is there. So finding the base source of supply for non-catalog items. See this, you look at this definition. This definition you will not find in any SAP Ariba press book, neither in SAP Ariba guidebook, neither in Learning Hub. Why? Because this is what I understood after working in Ariba for 8 years. So finding the base source of supply for non-catalog items. Very simple thing, but non-catalog item is a very, very important thing. Many Ariba consultant in front of me says to the client, oh, we can add catalog items in sourcing. Are bhaiya, kaise? How? You will have catalog items in downstream. Downstream is a separate database. Upstream is a separate database. How you will bring that data? Yes, Manoj. This is, uh, you know, then later on they will understand. But in front of the client, the damage has been done. So remember, sourcing means finding the base source of supply for non-catalog item. Now, of course, you will have RFI, then RFP. RFI means request for information. RFP means request for proposal. RFP means almost like that of RFQ in ERP. Now, here also there will be subtle distinction which will be coming into the picture. What are those things? When to use RFI? When to use RFP? What happens is I have seen many Ariba consultants going to the project. RFI, always RFI. Client is saying, "Arey boss, why always I will basically begin my process from RFI? What's what's the major reason behind it? Tell me, tell me." So because for doing one RFI it will take 1 week. Sorry, 1 month. For doing another RFP it will take 1.5 months. So for every sourcing project, if I have to do RFI first, then RFP, 2.5 months is gone just for one sourcing project. Client will say, I will create 200 to 500, even 1,000 sourcing project every year. Now, how I will do it? How many people I have to basically keep so that they work on these things? Excuse me. So this is the issue. So that is also you have to understand. This we will understand in detail in our next session, because in our next session we will start with sourcing. Exactly. So you have to understand that when to suggest to your client that you use RFI, then RFP, or when you are going to suggest to your client, boss, only RFP. RFI is not required. That you have to understand. Okay. So here we are basically going to understand about the difference over there. We are also going to understand about what the whole process flow, like creation of sourcing projects, publishing of sourcing project, sending the sourcing project to the supplier. Supplier will create their response in from Ariba network side. They will send it to the buyer. Buyer will do the awarding and all those things, and then we will basically see the template. Manoj, what you're talking about? What is template? Oh, Excel template. Excel template. Then I will say no. Which template then? So basically, we are talking about the configuration. But template configuration, what is it? Then I will say That is where ARIBA is different from and SRM. So you have to understand this thing, that in ARIBA, especially in upstream, you will do the configuration within the template. Oh, Manoj, we are having approval workflow. Where we will do it? Template. Oh, so that means any template configuration, sorry, any approval workflow configuration for sourcing project in template? Yes. Oh, but there are business rules also. Business rules also need to be configured according to the client's requirement. Template. Oh, we will have also task. What is task? Task are related activities, manual activities. Like for example, you are telling your buyer, boss, before publishing the sourcing project to a supplier, please go and check each and every field of sourcing project. Why? Because it is external. It is going to the external users. It is not an internal thing with that of the client. It will go to the supplier. So if we give something wrong, it will be an embarrassment for us. So one person will create a sourcing project, another person will audit that sourcing project before publishing. So this auditing of sourcing project before publishing, this is like a manual task. How we will do it? कैसे करेंगे? Again, in the template, we have to do this configuration. So that means, Manoj, you are saying to me that if I want to control the whole sourcing project, specifically in upstream, we have to do the configuration template. Exactly. Okay, how many templates we can create? Again, I'm not going to answer you technically. There are a lot of people who can give you technical information. But remember, as I said at the beginning of today's session, that it's not about how good theoretical knowledge or technical knowledge you're having. At the end of the day, you will be facing a business issue in the project and you have to resolve that issue. Understanding the business problem and application of your knowledge, these are the two things. So, in our template configuration, specifically in sourcing template configuration, the first and foremost thing I will basically talk about is solution formation. We can have single template, we can have multiple template. When to use single template, when to use multiple template, we'll talk about the differentiating factor. When you will go to a project, you can immediately say, after having a talk with your client, oh, this project single template, this project multiple template. Of course, you have to work with custom template. You cannot edit, you should not edit a standard template. That also we are going to talk about it. Okay. Yeah, so please keep this thing in your mind. Very, very important stuff. Now, once you have done the sourcing, you have founded a base source of supply. Very good. We have understood everything. Excuse me. What else, Manoj? Then I will say, Arey boss, excuse me. Your supplier is saying, I will give you this uh, MacBook laptop for $1,000. Very good. You're all happy. So 1 year down the line, you are basically ordering that particular product. That supplier comes to you, not 1 year, 6 months down the line. That supplier comes to you and say, Arey Manoj, I cannot give you that MacBook. Why? You have given your bidding, right? And we have selected you and we have awarded you the sourcing project. Now why you are saying no? Because of one thing. And what's that one thing? Because of one thing, that is, you have not signed a contract. You have not signed a contract. Now, since you have not signed a contract with the supplier can say, boss, I will not deliver you because somebody is giving me extra money. So we need to finalize the best source of supply. So for that, we need contract. Acha. So what is a contract? Again, contract, very, very big definition. No, we don't need a very big definition. Now, you don't need a, what you can say, a big definition. Legal agreement between are buyer and suppliers. Simple thing. Legal agreement between buyer and supplier. Now, are Manoj, this is very, very simple. Are hold on, hold on. First and foremost thing, what you have to do in contract, you have to basically author the contract. Okay? And the second one is task completion. Oh, here also we are having task Manoj. Yes. Now, when you are going to do the contract authoring, you will be presented with two options, DFS versus ECA. Desktop file syncing and enhanced contract authoring ECA. What's the issue? The issue is majority of the what? ARIBA consultant, they don't understand what's the difference. See, when you will go to a project, your ARIBA account executives, the guy who is basically coming from the ARIBA side and will be representing ARIBA to your client, they will ask DFS or ECA, which one in contract? Then majority of the ARIBA consultants say it does not matter. It does matter a lot. It does matter a lot. And why is that so? Because of one thing. Because if you use the DFS, desktop file syncing, what will happen? It will work with Internet Explorer. Now we know what happens with Internet Explorer, right? You cannot use Internet Explorer. Okay. Is it not available in Chrome, Firefox, Safari, Opera? No. And your majority of the clients will say, I will not use it. So that means due to some compatibility issue, DFS cannot be used. So what you have to use? You have to use ECA, enhanced contract authoring. What about this technology, Manoj? So ECA is compliant with every major browser. Safari, Chrome, Firefox, Edge, okay? Everything. Opera. So it is compatible. Now, okay, Manoj, just so much simple thing. No. In contract also, we will do this configuration where? Kahan pe? So we also have template for contract. So these are basically called as contract workspace template. Oh, so there also we will do the configuration. Yes. And if you say, ki boss, I will start using DFS. DFS template, actually DFS is obsolete technology. Nobody likes that. All of you will say, yes, Manoj, nobody likes that. But the template will be also be different for DFS versus ECA. So that means what? So that means the DFS template is incompatible with ECA. Now you understand that if your trainer basically trains you on DFS templates as well as in the DFS process, in your project right now, when you will go, you will only use ECA. So the process will be different. You will be saying, what the hell? Why process is different? Then you will go to the template, you will see template is also different, huh? What happened? The configuration which we have understood and the template which I'm seeing in the client system, they're different. Exactly. So in our session, we will cover the ECA contract workspace process and ECA contract template configuration. So that when you go to a project, you don't have to basically think, "Arey Manoj, kya ho gaya? What happened?" It's not the same. Actually, it will be same. Why? Because we are doing the thing which is being used in the projects. There also we will understand everything. Here also in contract also, if you want to configure the task or activity within template. Similarly, uh, what you can say, approval workflow within the contract you can configure over here. Similarly, you say contract authoring, Manoj, I want to make certain process mandatory, certain process optional. Again, within the template configuration, you can do it. And Manoj, the best thing, single template or multiple template, that also we will understand in details in our contract session. But remember, contract always you will use multiple template. Now there is a reason behind it why you have to use multiple template, that I will also explain in our contract session. Okay, now very good. Now before you run somewhere, are Manoj, supplier onboarding or SLP you have not talked about. Kyun? Why? If I go to other trainer, they will always say supplier onboarding is number one. Supplier onboarding is number one. First we will onboard supplier, then we will do the sourcing, then we will do the contracting. Are that is what I am saying. That is a theoretical knowledge. When you go to implementation project, do you think after the go live, your client will onboard new supplier one by one? Never. Never. Your client will basically say, Are Manoj, I am having 3,000 supplier, 5,000 supplier, 8,000 supplier, 10,000 supplier available in ERP. So those suppliers, how I will bring it to Ariba? Kaise? How? That is your goal. So that means when you go to implementation project and you're talking about supplier onboarding, you have to decide and devise a strategy of bringing the suppliers from the client's ERP system to that of client Ariba system. That means what? That means it's just not onboarding anything, you are onboarding bulk supplier. That means what? Of course, it's a master data integration, but it is a part of integration. So supplier onboarding is always a part of your master data integration strategy. Here also, some of the Ariba consultant, they will basically get theoretical knowledge. Oh, Manoj, supplier master data integration bidirectional. Bidirectional means what? Ariba to ERP, ERP to Ariba. So out of 6,000 suppliers, 3,000 suppliers will be copied from ERP to Ariba, and another 3,000 suppliers Ariba to ERP. Are what are you joking? Do you think, oh, I tell to the Ariba consultant, do you think on one hand side you will have veg biryani, on the other hand side you will basically have chicken biryani and you will mix it both? No, you cannot have like that. Bidirectional data integration means what? That it supports the data from ERP to Ariba or Ariba to ERP. But it does not mean half ERP to Ariba, half Ariba to ERP. No, you have to choose either of them. But Ariba supports both of them. But in your master data integration or supplier master data integration strategy, you have to choose any one of both of this. Any one, not multiple. Okay, so keep this thing in your mind. Okay, Very, very important for all of you guys to remember this stuff. Okay. So that is why supplier onboarding, we will understand where. Supplier onboarding, we will basically understand in our integration session. Okay. Here also we are going to talk about multiple sub processes like supplier request, supplier registration, supplier qualification, but we have to work in bulk. That we have to understand. Okay. So always keep this thing in your mind. This is a very, very important thing for all of you guys to remember. Okay. Very good. Now, all of you will say, Are Manoj, let's go to downstream solution. Then, Are let's go on now. Then I will say, hold on. Upstream solution is a what? Is a separate database. Downstream is a separate database. So how will you basically begin the process over here? That also we will need to understand. But before that, guys, what we will do is like we'll take a break of 10 minutes. Yeah. Because as you can see, as you can understand, that you know, we are not doing any theoretical stuff. That means, we are not opening a PowerPoint presentation where everything is written and I'm explaining you the things that everybody can do. What we are doing is like whatever things which we have done in our project, we are remembering and basically explaining you the concept one after another. Exactly. So let's take a break of 10 minutes. Uh, you can basically go have some cold drinks or tea or coffee during this 10 minutes. After this 10 minutes, we will continue with our session. So please don't think our session is completed. Okay, if session is not completed, session will go on, but we are going to take a break for 10 minutes. Why? Because otherwise this will become like a lecture, university lecture. Yeah, see, as I said, neither I am a trainer, neither professor nor lecturer. I'm a mentor. Exactly, I believe in a relationship of mentor and mentoree. That's it, nothing else. So let's take a break for 10 minutes. Okay, refresh yourself with some hot coffee or hot tea or cold cold drinks. Okay, and after the 10 minutes we will continue with our session. Okay. Yeah, yeah, thank you guys. Yeah, so Eraj, we are taking a break for 10 minutes, Eraj and Nikita, and after 10 minutes we will continue with our session. Yeah, thank you. So let us take a break, guys, for 10 minutes, and after this break we will continue with our session. So please don't log off from this meeting or this training. Yeah, thank you guys. Let's take the break. Guys, am I audible to all of you? Can you please confirm?
Yes, Manoj, you're pretty much audible.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks, Raj, for the confirmation. Yeah, let us basically, continue with our session. Yeah,
Sure. Thank you.
yeah. Thanks, Raj. Okay. Now, what happens in downstream? Now, I want all of you guys, once again, focused. Okay, so that is why the break is there, so that all of you guys don't feel like this is a lecture. You need to focus. Okay. So first and foremost thing, what is downstream solution? So downstream solution basically means in a very simple way, P2P. P2P means what? Procure to pay. I think everybody knows about it. So when I will say P2P, it will basically begin with the PR. In the PR, we will basically add what? The items, the suppliers, and all those things, right? Exactly. Once the PR has been drafted, what we will do? We will submit a PR for approval. It will go for approval. Once the PR is approved, what will happen? In ARIBA, automatically PO will get created. Now this PO will go to supplier in ARIBA network. Now in ARIBA network, PO confirmation will be done by supplier. Again, this is optional. Please remember optional. But but mandatory. Huh? Are Manoj, what you're saying? You're saying optional slash mandatory. Matlab, if you ask some question, you give the answer yes slash no. What does it mean? Either yes, either no. No. In real life, when you will go and understand, that is what I've been saying. The scenarios will be different. The process will be different. Oh, so that is why you have written optional slash mandatory. Yes. So in certain scenarios, peer confirmation will be optional. In certain scenarios, peer confirmation will be mandatory. That also you need to understand. You cannot just say always optional, always mandatory, because there will be multiple scenarios which will be running, right? Same thing. After that, what will happen? Supplier will basically create a ASN, advanced shipping notification. Once again, this is also optional and this is also mandatory. Again, it depends on the scenario. In certain cases, you will see ASN is not required at all, but in certain cases, it will be required. You have to understand which scenarios. That also we will understand in our P2P session. After this, what? After this, GR or ACS, service entry sheet. GR is for material, service entry sheet is for services. Very good. This will be done by the buyer. Very good. After that, what? Supplier will basically create the invoice in Ariba network. This invoice will come into Ariba buyer. Once it comes, after that, क्या होगा? What happens? IR, invoice reconciliation, three-way check or two-way check will happen. Three-way check or two-way check. Once this three-way check or two-way check will happen, what next? Payment. So this is basically your P2P cycle. But Manoj, this contract I should be able to use it. How will you use it? This is in upstream, separate database. Downstream, separate database. How will you use the contract in downstream? So that is where contract compliance come into the picture. What does contract compliance do? Contract compliance will basically move the contract from upstream to downstream. It will act as a bridge, and this bridge will basically move the data from upstream to downstream. Now, what will happen? contract. Now, Manoj, so are you basically saying to us that against the contract a PR will be created, PO will be done, and then GR, ACS invoice, IR payment? Yes, and this cycle will happen in number of times until unless the contract value is what? Consumed. Okay? So you have to keep this thing in your mind, nothing else. Now, this process is called as S2P. So, Manoj, you were talking about the P2P process. We do understand this P2P process. What is this H2P process? Source to pay process. Oh, that means in ARIBA we will have two processes, P2P and H2P. Yes. Now, after a few moments, I will basically say that in ARIBA you have integration. When I will say integration, everybody will jump up and say, ah, Manoj, I want to move the data from S4 to ARIBA and ARIBA to S4. What you will do that? Why you will do that? Huh? But that is the that is the main work. Then I said that is not your main work. Why? Now look at P2P process and look at the S2P process. You are having PO in both the processes. Now tell me, as an integration consultant, forget about the configuration. How will you differentiate between the PO which is coming from P2P versus S2P? So now I think all of you have understood P2P, S2P are two different processes. Very good. How will you differentiate between a PO which is coming from P2P versus a PO which is coming from S2P? When you would be able to differentiate that, then only you can make the system understand that. Exactly. So this is the role of an integration consultant. They need to understand, okay, this is how P2P is different from S2P. Once they understand this thing, what happens? Then you can do the configuration. In integration, you will see 60 to 70% of the configuration will be done by basis consultant, but they don't know anything about Ariba. You will not have access to those things at all. They will do it. Excuse me. But you have to help them out. Forget about this P2P S2P. Why? Because your basis consultant will say, what is P2P, what is S2P? I don't know. Manoj, you have to basically tell me what's the differentiating point. So when I will basically tell that information to the basis consultant, then only they can do the configuration properly. That is why I said to all of you guys at the beginning of the session that, see, anybody can become a trainer by reading the books or doing one project. They can give the theoretical knowledge. Oh, a CIG configuration, do the mapping, set up the backend system, done. And some SPRO add-on configuration in SO side. Anybody can do that thing. If it was that much easy in the project, why? Why people will basically struggle during this configuration? Yes, really people struggle. I also struggled a lot while working because I also did not understood this thing. But when I understood, oh, P2P process is different from S2P process, then once I know the differentiating factor, I will tell to the basis consultant, are boss, P2P is not having a contract ID. On the other hand, you look at S2P, there is a contract ID present. So whenever you see a contract ID within a PO, remember it's a H2P process. If the contract ID field is empty, that is P2P. Oh, Now we have the differentiating factor. Now we can make the CAG understand, okay, this is a P2P process, this is an S2P process. And your basis consultant will do the configuration very, very properly. Remember this thing. Please remember this thing. Okay. So this is why you should be very, very clear about these processes. Because until unless you're not clear, you cannot become a good functional consultant. There will be a lot of struggle. Yes, struggle will be there, but you know what to do. Now, here also the configurations are different. So here we are going to see the catalogs, loading, catalogs config, and approval workflow configs, all the stuff, etc. etc. So here we don't have any templates. In Ariba downstream, you don't have any templates. That also we are going to see it. Okay, very good. Now what next? Now integration. What is there in the integration? As I said, integration scenario building. Now, what is integration scenario building? We have understood P2P versus H2P is different. Let us talk about payment. You will be basically taking a decision ki where the transactional document will basically take place and where it will be executed and where it will be replicated. Now, understand this kind of issues will come to you. Okay, we are having payment. Payment can be done in S4. Payment can be done in Ariba. Both the system can do it. Now take a decision. Majority of the Ariba functional consultant, what they will do, they will say, oh, let's do it in Ariba. Let's do it in Ariba. Some of them will say, no, 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 let's do it in S4. Why? Why? As I was giving you all an example, why flight? Why not train? Tomorrow you want to go to the meeting. Why not train? Why only flight? Oh, I need to save a time. It's an urgent thing to get a ticket. Even if I reach by today midnight also by flight, not an issue. Tomorrow I can wake up early and then attend the meeting. Attending the meeting is important. So that is why I want to save time. I cannot take a train because it will not save time. I have to spend more time on it. Again, you have to understand the decision, why you are taking that decision. Now, excuse me. From a procurement consultant point of view, if you say payment is done, very good, Manoj, payment is done. Payment to the supplier is done. Does the process stops over there? Your client will say no. Why? They will say, Are Manoj, we are giving payment to the supplier. Then I will say yes. What's the issue? What's the issue in that? Then they will say, Are should it not go into our GL account or the account book? Then I will say why? Why? Why it should go to the GL account book? Because at the end of the financial year, the account book needs to be closed. And if these payments are not reflecting in the account book, what will happen? Those account book will not close at the end of the financial year. Your client will be saying, Are what you have done? Now come to Ariba. What Ariba pays does it only pay to the supplier. If you ask Ariba ki boss, why it is not updating in the account book, then they will say posting of payment data to account book is not a procurement related activity. It's a finance related activity. Ariba is a procurement related software. It is not a finance related software. Huh. That is why I said at the beginning of the session, you have to understand a business issue, then you need to apply your knowledge to give a solution. So that means posting of FI data or posting of payment data in FI, that will never happen in Ariba. So what we can do? Some Ariba consultant will say, okay, let's pay the supplier amount in Ariba and then maintain this data manually in S4. Then I will say, hold on. Same thing is also happening right now. Why we are using Ariba? To automate our process. If the manual activity I have to do it once again more, then what's the advantage? See, we are all business analysts first, right? Business consultant. We have to understand the client's business process. If we have to improve their business process, that is where change management come into the picture. We are adding values to our client. We are saying to them that was okay, you have been doing these things like this till now, very good. But there is a better way of doing it. So what is the better way? The better way is process the payment to the supplier in S4 and automatically post the data in FI. Because once the payment happens in S4, that posting of data into FI will happen automatically. Only the status of the payment, successfully paid, bring it to Ariba. So that means you will basically say payment will be processed in ERP or in S4 and status update will happen in Ariba. So that means payment is the source system, ERP is the source system for payment, and destination system is nothing but Ariba. So this is nothing but your integration scenario building. I have only talked about payment. We need to consider this thing for all this transactional document. Very good. Now, to add complexity on top of that, P2P process will have a separate integration scenario. S2P will have a separate integration scenario. The integration scenario of S2P and P2P will be totally different to each other. So now you understand that when I talk about integration, integration is not directly going into the web services, working on the web services, or building a connection between CIG and S4. That will be done by the basis consultant. You have to build this scenario. In majority of the project, what I have seen, client will take dedicated support from SAP Ariba for this integration. Yes, they can help you. Technically, they can help you. Technically, they can help you. Oh, you don't know what to configure in the mapping side? They will help you. But they will never help you in integration scenario building. Why? Because that is where the toughest thing is. And if you make wrong or if you do wrong over here in integration scenario building, the result will never be correct. Okay. The second thing is, if Ariba helps you in doing this, they will not be able to charge the client any consulting fees. That is why nobody will help you in doing this thing. And that is almost 80% of integration. If you know how to build a scenario, 80% of your work is done. So that is where my focus will be. How to, understand the different scenarios, and for each of the scenario, how to build the integration of the process. That will be my goal. And that you will never find it anywhere else. Okay, what's the next thing? Next thing is basically mass data load. Are Manoj, what we will do in mass data loads? In mass data loads, we will load the data majorly master data in Ariba manually with the help of CSV files, comma separated file. Huh? Are you're saying that we will have integration. Then why we have to do this mass data load manually in Ariba? Why we have to load it? You tell us. The answer is simple. The answer is simple. For doing this integration, the data must be available in ERP as well as in Ariba. Ah, yes, Manoj, correct. ERP and in Ariba. Yes, correct. So what's the issue? The issue is there will be certain data which is available in Ariba, but it won't be available in ERP. Just like, for example, commodity code, and that to UNSPAC commodity code, United Nations Specified Product and Services commodity code. This won't be available in ERP. Material group is not same as that of UNSPAC commodity code because material group is always customized. Acha, another example, purchasing unit. Purchasing unit we have in S4. No, no, no. You don't have it. I'm not talking about purchasing organization. I'm not talking about purchasing group. Purchasing unit is a separate master data in Ariba that does not exist in S4, neither in ECC. So if that data is not present in S4 or in ECC, you have to create the data in the CSV file and you have to load it into Ariba manually. That also we are going to understand in our mass data load session. And the last thing is basically the CIG config. CIG config. Now, there's another thing which we have to see, that is report. So Ariba has prepackaged report. And whenever I will say report, oh report, that means Manoj, I can change the coding. Arey boss, this is a on-premise solution. You cannot change the coding. Arey, then what's the use of it? Then I will say, yes, there is a use for it. We will basically do what? We can customize it. That means we can configure it without changing a single code. Okay? So keep this thing in your mind. So that we will see. Then we will basically see how to schedule a job. We cannot basically do what? Run a report always in production. We will schedule it and then automate it. What do you mean by automate? Automate means once this report runs in the background, after that, a automatic email should go to the supplier. Sorry, to the user, saying that this report ran successfully on so and so date and so time, and excuse me, the data is attached in a Excel file in this email. So that means the end user don't have to log into Ariba to see the report output. Ariba is basically automating it, sending an email with the Excel file attached to it, and within the Excel file we are having the report output. So your client will be saying, "Arey boss, badhiya, very good." This things also we are going to see in our session. Okay, so this is what we do in Ariba. You understand in Ariba. Okay, I did not went into the detailed thing. Why? Because for every session, for every topic, we are having a different sessions over there, which we are going to see in details. So from there, we will understand and we will do those things. And there's another thing which I want to basically say specifically for the approval workflow configuration in downstream. Now here, what happens is There is two kinds of configuration. Okay, yeah. So what does it actually means? So it means basically static approval workflow means it's you know your approval are fixed. What are dynamic? Dynamic means, okay, let's say for example, within the whole India region, Manoj, if you are present in Delhi purchasing organization, approval will be Manoj. If you are present in the Mumbai purchasing organization, approval will be Eraj. If you are present in Hyderabad region purchasing organization, what will happen? Sana would be the approver. I am not talking about L1, L2, L3. I'm talking about the same level, but depending on the purchasing organization. So if purchasing organization is Delhi, Manoj will approve it, or if purchasing organization is Mumbai, Iraj will approve it, or if purchasing organization is Hyderabad, then Sana will approve it. Excuse me. Okay. So that is an example of your dynamic approval workflow. So it does not mean three level, only level one only, but within that conditions. And based on the condition, the approver will be picked up dynamically. That kind of configuration also we can do it in Ariba through functional configuration. Please don't think, oh, we have to write code or implement code. No, through configuration only you can do that. So that kind of complex approval workflow also we are going to see it in our session. Okay. So this is what I wanted to show to all of you guys in today's session, guys. Remember, please don't think today's session is free session, so Manoj, it does not have any value. No, today's session is basically the stepping stone. So this session basically sets the narrative, gives you the basic idea about Ariba, so that when we will go to the session one, there you will not basically ask me, Manoj, what is catalog item, what is non-catalog item. You will know what I am talking about. Why in sourcing we only work with non-catalog item? Why not catalog item? You know about this thing. Then I can go deeper into sourcing. What are the things which comes into the picture? How the scenario will change, where it will change, why it will change, what are the business rules? All those things you will be able to understand in detail in every session. But today is the stepping stone. Okay. So this is what I want to show to all of you guys in today's session. Now, just a moment. Now we are going to, just give me a moment, guys. Just give me a moment. Okay, so now, guys, before we proceed with anything, Iraj is going to show you certain things over there. That means specifically, we are talking about like the things which we are going to share with you, guys. Remember, our training is the most precious thing which you are going to get. Why? Because it's not theoretical. It's coming from the experience. And remember, this training is not only going to help you right now, 3 years down the line also this training is also going to help you. How can you say, Manoj, with so much confidence? Because from 2017 those uh, participants who have basically participated in our training, still they call us and they say that we still see your recording before working for the new project. Exactly. But apart from that also, what you will see is like, guys, we will be giving Google Drive access to all of you guys. Huh? For how many months? Actually, it's not months, it's whole lifetime, where you will see the recording. Because you have to remember, the recordings are very, very important. And just coming into the session and being present over there for a few time will not help you. You have to go through the recording because there will be tremendous amount of information. Yeah. So you have to see the recording multiple times. So those recordings will be uploaded of every sessions of our for our batch in this G drive so that you can see that recording in number of times. Similarly, we are also going to give you document, standard document as well as custom document. Custom documents matlab, custom documents are those documents which has been prepared by us so that you can go through the documents and it will be very, very easy for you to understand. Okay. So as you can see, Eras has basically started showing this thing. You
Yeah.
can see in the screen. Yeah. And
Thanks.
before that, yeah, Eraj, can you please, show the, folders and all those things
Yeah.
which we will be sharing with the
Yeah.
participants?
Yeah. All right, Manoj. Yeah. Thanks. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to show the complete things. So as Manoj was saying very rightly, guys. So this is a very practical training, and it would be really hard practically to understand and remember the things in one go. So for that reason, I'm going to show you guys like what are the offerings we are going to give you here as part of the training, apart from the live interactive training by Manoj. Okay, we'll be having like all the trainings, all the sessions which you are attending also going to be recorded, and basically all those recordings we are keeping in the folders. So you can see there are so many means like so many batches which we have already conducted, uh, like from 2017, yeah, I guess, right, Manoj? Yeah. And also all the session recordings what we already we are having with us. Okay, so let me open randomly any one of the folder from this one. Now basically you'll be having all these six different folders in this one. So we'll be having recordings folder, Ariba access folder, notepads, documents, certification material, and learning of videos. So let's quickly go and see inside like what's there inside each and every folder. Okay, so in the recordings folder, all the sessions which you are, as I said, like all the sessions which you are attended already going to be recorded here, and even including this demo session as well. Okay, so those sessions are going to be shared with you. Okay, obviously, so this whole folder is going to be shared, so this will also come. Then the next is Ariba access. So just going through the training is not enough for us. So for that reason, we are providing the 24 by 7 uh, access for 60 days. So 2 months of access will be there here. Okay. And remember, guys, you may get uh, from outside also some of the accesses are you may get it from your company or somewhere. But the access which we will be providing you will be totally different, having all the accesses here. In the sense, like you can do proper configuration, you can whichever the uh, scenarios or whichever the work will be seeing in the session by Manoj, so you can configure those things I mean like out of the session, in the sense like when you are doing the practice. Okay, so that is very important. So practice is very, very important, hands on is very important. Okay, now the second next is what, This access details will be provided here in Ariba Access, how to log in, and this, since is a cloud solution, so every detail will be provided, and if at all any credentials are changing, this folder is getting updated over here. Okay, now coming to the second folder, it is going to be the notepads. So notepads, basically, whichever Manoj is showing right now, like how it's showing, how the today demo session, he has started with blank notepad. Okay, so slowly he has built it up, so that's really going to make a connection between the participants and him. So because you see, uh, it's as Mano said in the session itself, it's going to be very easy when you are doing with a presentation. Okay, because it's pre-planned, already prepared documentation, already prepared PPT is there. Okay, you are just presenting and reading it, so that's not going to be very much interactive kind of thing. And also you'll not be having a understanding in a clear fashion, like how we have it right now. Okay, right now it's completely blank notepad, slowly Manoj is explaining and writing it up. So indeed, like, it's a very tough thing to do it, but he always build up the things in the similar way. So the similar notepads will be getting here. You can see, like, for example, P2P approval process. So everything he's going to explain in a very proper way, and all the pointers which are very important. Okay, he's going to write it up. So all those notepads are also going to be shared with you guys. Okay, now coming to the next part is you can see the documents folder here. So basically, these are the documents which are standard documents. So there are certain press books. Okay, one second. There are certain press books, and basically these documents are categorized in three parts, like upstream, downstream, integration. So what this folder consists of? So there are standard documents, and there are certain documents which are self-prepared one. Okay. Self-prepared means, like, for example, if you're talking about integration, so there are certain standard documents, and we have, this is something which is very important document, which has been prepared by Manoj, exclusively by him only, guys. So this is a very important document. We call it as what, integration Bible here, where he has mentioned each and everything with his experience. I'm telling you again, guys. So these things will you'll not get it any, even SAP standard documentation as well. Because you see, standard documentation, they'll follow always the standard processes. But this document is being prepared by Manoj, which is, he has already put his experience over here in this. Okay, since last 11 years he's working in SAP Ariba, and he's having more than 18 years of total experience as a procurement consultant here. Okay, so he has already put all his experience over here. We have systematically well prepared this document, putting all the screenshots, like which are the configurations needed, where you need to go it. I mean, like, you don't go with this blur one, because I have opened directly here. So once you open in a very proper fashion, so you can see each and everything very clearly. Okay, guys. So all this document, all this, even like you are going for CIG, put this one, front screen. So what are the configurations you need it for that? So all those things we are going to, we have already, like, Manoj has already prepared this document and will be shared with you guys. Okay, so
Exactly.
like
So
this,
in
we in
short,
short I can.
in short, sorry to cut you off, Eraj, in between. So in short, guys, this custom documents which you can see, you basically learn first those particular concept from us. Now, this particular document, you keep it with yourself when you go to a project, right? You will see this particular document, that in this document there are different step-by-step activities which you can do to perform this thing. That means once you see this document and you go to your project, and you have already the integration scenario built up with yourself, that means you have already designed a scenario, you can basically follow the steps and do the configuration very very easily. So that is why, like, there is a saying in Hindi, sone pe suhaga, right? So the training along with this custom documents, they're complementary of each other.
Yeah, very well said, Manoj. Yeah, yeah, that's a right word to use it here. Okay, so basically, guys, here these are the documents which are, because we have been, giving this training, like providing this training since more than almost, like, I can say 5 6 years, especially in Ariba. Okay, apart from Ariba, we do also provide the trainings in almost all SAP modules. So we have basically established in 2010, so almost 22 years, sorry, 11 years of experience we are holding in this one, in the training domain. And also we are not only into the training, but also we are into consulting. In the sense like we not only train in SAP Ariba, we are mostly doing the consultancy in cloud solutions. We are open for the consultancy in SAP Ariba, Fieldglass, C4C, success factors and all those cloud, majorly the cloud solutions, I can say. Okay. And Manoj is leading this Ariba and Fieldglass domain here, even not only here in the training domain, but also in our consultancy as well. Okay. Apart from this, he's also working his own job. Okay, that is there with one of the big four company. I don't want to reveal the name of the company, but he is also into this one. So he's a very expertise. I can say he's a very well expert in SAP Ariba and Fieldglass as well. Okay, coming back to our point here. So the next is like certification material. I guess like most of you will be wondering like, yeah, certification might be there, but here in Ariba, it's a cloud certification. Okay, and all the certification material you can find it over here. So we have well classified whichever the certifications are there. I'll just show you here with going to SAP official website for certification. So basically SAP is having right now, previously they were having total 11 certifications, but now they have cut short those certification list to 7. I mean, like made it like 7 certifications. So you can start from here. You can see like this is the SAP Ariba integration with cloud integration gateway. So from starting from here, then till SAP Ariba supplier management, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 6. I guess like they have reduced one. There was one more certification lately, so they are very fastly changing here. So now they have like 6 certifications in SAP Ariba. In order to support these certification, if any one of you want, like nobody is going to write all those 6 certifications as such. Okay, so mostly they'll be going with some prominent certifications like Ariba sourcing and P2P, like Ariba procurement. So this is the one. Okay, Ariba sourcing, this is the one. Or they'll be going with this like Ariba procurement. Okay. Apart from this one, we do have for Ariba contracts, especially if somebody wants to go with the integration part, so they want to go it over here as well. So our course contents are the combination of all these 6 certifications, guys. Okay, and this is mostly I can say is like very practically we are taking this training, so it would be literally going to be very easy for you guys to clear the certifications, and we have a very good track record of it. So our participants, like the people who has attended our training, would be very did very well in the certifications. Like in one attempt they have cleared it. So and with the aid of like the best Manoj training, I can give the like 70 to 80% of the credit to Manoj training. Like 20 or 30% you can go, like we do have certification material, the other processes, and our team will always there with you to help you out wherever the access is not working, or any other parts. So we'll be helping you out guys on this. So apart from this one, after the training also, we are not going to leave you. We are going to create a WhatsApp group where all the participants of a particular batch is going to be, there in this group, and they can interact with each other. So in short, I can say it's going to be a very good collaboration. And to let you know guys, all the participants here, you might be thinking like, hey, like you guys will be inviting all the any participant who is willing to attend the batch. So there is no such thing guys. Okay, we are filtering the participants before anyone is invited for the training. We'll ask what are the qualification, like I mean to say the majorly the profile qualification is not important here. Okay, so what is their profile? If they are from procurement background or they are having little bit of procurement knowledge, then only will advise them to come over here. Okay. If somebody is more interested, no, I'm not having anything, but I want to attend the demo. So I'll say, okay, fine, you attend the demo. Let's see how much you can catch it up with the terminologies and all the processes what we are going to discuss in the demo session. So based upon that, you can make the decision. But we always recommend anyone who is coming from the procurement background to come here for the training part. And in short, I can say the participants here are going to be mostly, having more than 5 years, 6 years, and even 15 years, 20 years of experience in procurement domain. So the crowd is going to be very good here, and the questions which is being, asked by the people are going to be very standard one, and we are going to discuss the different scenarios coming from the different group of people participants over here. And we do have like mixed geographical location participants, not only from India, so mostly from US and Southeast Asia, because in the morning batch we do have mostly from Southeast Asia like Singapore and Australia, and kind of participants are going to be there. So in short, I can say the conversations, the discussion which we are going to have in the upcoming sessions, like doubts and everything, clarifications are going to be very healthy and very productive one. Okay, now, apart from this one, the training procedure is going to be like this, and these sessions are going to be only on the weekends. Okay, Saturdays and Sundays. Okay, so guys, I can say, so this is the demo session. Like as Mano said very rightly, also is not only the demo session, also is going to be a very good stepping stone for every one of you. Okay, so today is 10th. Now the next session is going to be on 17th. Okay, sorry,
No,
uh,
no, yeah, 16th.
16th. Yeah, yeah, 16th. Yeah, sorry.
16th.
16th and 17th. So 16th is going to be the first session. Okay, so please go through the recordings of this one, and you'll be having like, you'll just advise to enroll it as soon as possible if you are willing. Okay, don't force anyone, okay, to do the enrollment or kind of thing. If you feel that's really going to be very helpful, then you can go ahead with this one. Okay, so guys, fine then. The total duration of the course is going to be approximately 40 to 45 hours. Okay, which can be covered within 5 weekends, I can say. Okay, including the Saturdays and Sundays only, we are going to cover 3.5 hours, sometimes 3 hours. So in short, I can say every weekend we are going to cover around 6 to 7 hours of training part. Okay, so that comes like 5 weeks, approximately 5 weekends approximately, and the whole week you will be having the time to do the practice
I
here,
think Iraj,
like
I
hands
think
on.
Iraj, it will be like for 6 week because it will
Yeah,
be like broken up because we are having a weekend session over here. So the weekend session
yes,
will
yes,
be like for 6 week.
yeah, yeah. Okay, fine. Like sometimes like plus or minus is going to be, so whichever Manoj
Exactly.
is saying, like, because he's the boss to take you up, guys.
No, 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 no,
Okay,
no,
so
no. See, the
fine
thing
then.
is like, this is always a team effort.
Okay.
Remember, Iraj, you, me, all the BREs, as well as all the participants, we form a winning team and we win as a team.
Yes, yes, that's your generosity, Manoj. Yeah, thank you, guys. So I'll make my pitch short. So we'll take up the question answer session, so that would be more easier for everyone to understand more things. So I hope like I have answered most of your queries. So apart from this one, apart from administrative aspect or any other things, if you are having any technical queries or any administration queries also, so you can raise your hands, guys. You can raise your hands. I'm going to unmute you one by one. You are open for question answers here.
Don't try, guys, don't try to raise your hand physically. We won't be able to see it. Okay, so try to raise your hands from the go to training application only.
Yes, yes. Yeah. So guys, you can see, okay, I can see Ajit. Uh, Ajit, okay, I'm just unmuting you. I'll just unmute you. You need to unmute yourself also, Ajit. Okay, so that you can voice your voice out.
Hi Araz, hi Manoj. Yeah, it was really a nice demo. So I have few
Thank
questions
you.
because I have experience in Ariba. I have worked in Ariba, SRM, MM. Last 12 years I am working in SRM.
Yeah.
So, so I have questions like, will you be providing the CIG configuration and direct material procurement? You will be covering that also in the training?
Yes, I think we basically talked about this thing that the commerce automation as well as the CIG configuration. Yes, we are going to cover in our session
Yeah,
because that is
even
one of
I
the most important part.
Yeah, CI is new and I know want that. Apart from that, actually I am
Hmm.
working on a project for integration with PeopleSoft. Okay, so there
Hmm.
we don't have CIG. We will be using the ITK itself. So, and I had worked on ITK as well, but it has been like 3 4 years. I'm not working. I am starting to work on Ariba. That is somewhere I would require your help on ITK as well. So, Uh, is it possible you can give me some insight into the ITK and help me out if required, if at all required? Because I think I have the documents, I can go through that and capture those things. But still, if I require any help, can I get your
Okay,
help on
Ajit.
that?
So first,
Yeah,
first and foremost thing, yes, we can help you over there. But frankly speaking, I will say the last project where I worked on ITK, it was in
yeah,
2017. Because as you know, that
yeah,
from 2019 onwards, we have basically, ITK we don't use. We use CI9, and from 2019, this CI9 to CIG happened. So,
yes,
so
yes.
basically, for the last few years, I've been working on CIG. But yes, if you are having some issue with the ITK, that means data extraction, data
Yeah,
transfer tool
actually, we
on
are
this part
using
over here.
PeopleSoft. We are not into this S4 HANA or ECC
Yeah,
system. So, Ariba along with PeopleSoft. That is the reason we will be using ITK itself. Yeah,
yeah. So not an issue over there, but I think there will be no support from Ariba on this side. There will be
yeah,
no
yeah,
support.
exactly,
Why? Because it's
exactly.
obsolete. ITK has been
Yes.
obsolete, made obsolete, so there will be no support. So in this case, generally what I suggest to my client is use CPI, Cloud Platform Integration, in this
Okay,
scenario.
okay,
Okay, so in this case, Ariba and PeopleSoft, not only PeopleSoft, any software can be basically be connected with it by using the CPI. So you will need a CPI consultant. They will basically develop the interfaces, custom interfaces, of course, where
okay,
the CPI consultant will do a mapping of PeopleSoft fields with that of the Ariba fields. Once that is done, then this integration will start working properly. But since you said like ITK has been already selected, yes,
yes.
some help I can give, but
Maybe after some time they will start CPI. Uh, that would be the roadmap. Uh, Not but currently they are using the ITK. They have selected ITK.
yeah. Okay, okay, not an issue. Yes, something, some help I can provide, but remember that will be offline. That means it won't be
Yes,
within the session
anything. Yeah, yeah.
of the
I
session
don't
only.
want to disturb the session because I understand that. But offline, yeah, offline. If you can provide any help, like if I encounter any issues and you can
Yeah, yeah.
mentor me, then it will be good.
Sure, sure. We will help you.
And yeah, next question is regarding the uh, accesses. Means you will be providing the Google Drive access. Apart from that, will you be providing the this VDI or server access also through VDI or any um, DRP?
Okay, so basically through the remote desktop, we will basically
Yeah.
provide the access to Ariba, Ariba buyer,
Okay.
as well as Ariba network. Why? Because you want to
Okay.
basically not only do the configuration, but test out the process. Also from the
Yes.
supply side, also you want to basically test out the scenarios of the process also. So both the Ariba buyer and Ariba network access, we will give it through the RDP. Why?
Okay.
Because I will tell you what's the major reason. See, this system which we are going to give you, it's not going to be through TeamViewer, or it is not going to be just a end user system. That means as a functional consultant, you can do this template configuration, this approval configuration, everything. So
Yes.
for taking this system, we have to sign a contract with Ariba itself for taking this
Mhm.
training system. So that is why we give the access with the help of RDP, and it will be for 2 months.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. Yeah, and third question regarding APIs. So will you be covering APIs for the Ariba as well in the training?
Yeah, in the integration we will basically discuss about the APIs, but remember, APIs are majorly like Java developer has to
Yes,
write
yes.
a
No,
code in between
I
that.
want just yeah, I understand that, but just a
Yeah, but
introduction
where
to
you can
how
use the
it works.
where you
Yes.
why you will use
Use cases.
APIs, where you will use APIs, what are the use cases for APIs? Yes, that we
Yes.
will discuss in our integration session. Specifically, Ariba is a very clever company. With CIG,
Yeah.
with CI9, we don't have to use any API, but CIG, there are some product limitation which can only be, what you can say, removed by using Ariba APIs only. So yes, we are
Yeah.
going to talk about the use cases.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, welcome,
Thank
Ajay.
you. Yeah. Thank you so much. So I'm just going to mute you. So we do have next Vinod. Vinod, can you just unmute yourself?
Yes, sure. Hey everyone. I have background in SAP P2P and O2C, and I am today new to Ariba. So my question is,
Okay.
what platform or language do we use in Ariba? Is it Java or ABAP or something else? That is one.
Okay.
And okay, do you want to answer this first and then takes
Yeah,
it
I
over?
think that would be much better. Otherwise, what happens is like if you ask multiple question, and then while giving the answer, I will forget
Yeah,
the third question maybe or the fourth question. So let me
makes
give
sense.
the answer, Vinod. Yeah. So Ariba actually is based out of Java. It is based out of Java, and it also uses what you can say CXML data, commercial extensible markup language data for transferring data with other systems. So, but you won't be able to see it. Why? Because it's a cloud-based solution. So cloud-based solution means the application server where SAP Ariba is installed, it is maintained by Ariba itself. And I think in August this year, August 2022, Ariba is moving from the Oracle platform, or not Oracle platform, sorry, from I think its own data center to that of Google data center, Google Cloud data centers. So those accesses for the application server will not be ever with the client. Since it is not with the client, we will not get, forget about changing the code. We will not get access to see the code. So that is why in Ariba, always remember there is no technical consultant, only functional consultant. So as a functional consultant, we can load the data, do the configuration, do the integration configuration, do the normal functional configuration, but we cannot see the code. So if you want to change the code, we have to create an enhancement request. And Ariba employees, specifically those Ariba employees who are working in engineering department, they will change the code for some extra, charges.
So that comes brings me to my next question. Suppose if certain
Yeah.
feature is not available and client wants it, so it has to go through the Ariba team, and we cannot do on our own. That's not how it is
No,
done.
no, no, no. Customization. So basically, you want to use certain functionalities. So those things are basically parameter driven. That is a different thing altogether. But let's say, for example, you want to do a deep customization, which will require code changes, right? That we can do. Why? Because we will not have access to that. So any code changes at the Ariba level, that will always be customer dependent. Why? Because it should not be basically enabled for all the customers. Because certain customers will have only certain uh, customization which is valid for that client only. So for that, if there is any code source, source code changes is required, we will create, go to connect.ariba.com, we'll create an enhancement request, and then SAP Ariba engineering team will basically change the code just for that client.
But again, the release and all will be controlled by Ariba. They might not be doing it very frequently. It could be like quarterly or maybe once in 6 months
No,
or
no,
a
no,
year.
no, 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 no. This is enhancement request. So once you raise this enhancement request, within I think 2 weeks to 1 month, they will basically change it, and you would be able to see those enhancement within the system, and then you can test out.
Okay. And my last question, so what database do they use? Is it S4 or some Oracle or something else? And do we have access to that data? For example, if I work for a client and if client wants to pull that data into their maybe analytics
Hmm.
server or something like that, do we have that
Yeah.
opportunity?
Yes, that see, the answer to your question is yes and no both. So no, we don't have direct access to the database. Just like in ERP or in S4, right? We will basically have AC16N or AC11 transaction code where we can go and even change the database table also, not only see the data. But in Ariba, we will not have access to the database. Why? Because once again, it's part of the application server, and no client will have access to any application server, neither the implementation or support partner will have access to it. That's the first thing. But on the other hand, if you say you want to extract the data or you want to move this data into some other analytic system, yes, that is available with the help of integration. So that can be done, or you can manually download the data using a CSV file also from Ariba system with the help of reportings.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, welcome, Vinod.
Thank thank you. And to add the words here, like enhancement requests are chargeable and specific to the client, and it's totally solely in SAP Ariba team's hand whether they want to take it up the enhancement request or not, because it's a cloud solution. If they are going to do certain changes here, the whole system is going to be affected. So usually Ariba teams are not going to take very big enhancement requests. They'll say no, it's not possible as per the out of box, like 5 to 10, 10 to 15% of the changes they'll do it. But like how we used to do in ECC side, like out of the box
Ah,
implementation, sometimes like 70%
exactly.
changes with the help of a ABAPer sit, making the ABAPer sit and do the changes. So I was working in one of the project like GE project. We were having like almost 80% of the out of the box scenarios. So like those things are not going to happen uh, here in SAP Ariba, I can say. Yeah. So these are the things which we need to keep it in mind. So all right, guys. So in short, I can say there is no need of you to know any programming here. So it's completely no technical consultant role over here. Yeah. So now next is
Yeah.
Vishnu. I'm just going to unmute you. Please go ahead with your query.
Yeah. Good morning, Manoj. This is Vishnu.
Yeah. Hello, Vishnu.
Yeah. Actually, I am from a domain background.
Okay.
I am working as a SAP end user.
Okay.
Is it good for me to learn Ariba?
Uh, Now, first and foremost thing, so you are basically from the procurement domain. You're already
Yes.
using Ariba as an end user, right?
No, no, no. I am using a SAP MM as end user.
Okay, SAP MM. So that means you are in the procurement and you have knowledge about SAP MM. You have worked on SAP MM. Now you want to basically learn SAP Ariba and you want to become a Ariba consultant,
Yes,
right?
yes. Hmm.
Okay, now I will be frank, frank, and to some extent I will be a little bit, uh, uh, what you can say, upfront on this part. So first and foremost thing, see, you don't have consulting experience, so when you will basically move from the end user role to that of a consulting role, there will be a bit struggle involved over there.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
that's the first thing. Second thing is, uh, on the SAP Ariba side, yes, there are a lot of opportunities over there in the market. So right now, if you go and see in the Monster, Naukri, or in LinkedIn, you will find a lot of Ariba jobs are coming into the picture. But
Yeah.
the issue which you are going to face is they will basically point this thing out that you don't have consulting experience over there. So this is where I think one of the stumbling block will be there for you. But
Yeah.
then again, even if you basically think that in MM also you're going to move from an end user role to that of a functional consultant role or consulting role. So there also you are going to face the same issue. So you have to basically make up your mind right now that are you going to be an end user or a consultant. Now, if you say yes, I will become a consultant, then I will say rather than going as a MM consultant, go for Ariba consultant. But remember, getting a job will be like a little bit difficult. That means you have to keep your patience. You cannot just say that hey, right now only I will get a job. You have to wait, you have to give multiple interviews, and then in one of the interview will you crack it and then you will get a job. But you have to keep your patience. Immediately will not get a
Okay.
job.
Okay.
But
Can I get a
then again there is another thing, Vishnu. Luck. Okay, because that is what happens in real life. But if you are having a strong luck, you go for a first interview and they select you. That nobody can say. But I want to be very very upfront about this thing. Why? Because I don't want to give a false expectation. Why? Because
okay?
I will give you false expectation. You will do this course and then you will think, oh, like immediately I will get a job. That is wrong. So I don't want to give a
Okay.
false expectation.
Okay. Can I get a consultation help from you in future?
Yes,
Consultation help me.
yes and no also.
Yeah, sure, sure, sure. Yeah, yeah, of
So,
course.
Vishnu, to add Manoj words here. So, Manoj has said very rightly, and we are very honest with every one of you guys, like in giving, because it's a matter of keep your career. Okay, we don't want to mislead or misguide you. We do have very good name in the market also. Like people come for the only for the consultation also, like just for the career guidance. Definitely will be help them without any charges as well. So coming to here, like I can say, to be very honest, I'm going to be very blunt here. Okay, if you are saying like you are having even like 5 6 7 years of experience as an procurement consultant, maybe your procurement manager or someone who is handling your team also, and you said like I have learned SAP Ariba, okay, I want a job. Nobody is going to give you a job here. Okay, anyway, you have to show them or you have to prove them like you have already worked in SAP Ariba at least for 2 years. Okay, now this is a very big question, like how you are going to get an experience unless until you're not going to work. So presently there are a lot of ways of doing so. Like you can talk to your means like your HR, like already working, so can you just I can put the experience, something like this. So they should be little diplomatic, you know what I'm talking about. So you have to do certain tweaking. If you don't have the resources of doing those things, so better not to take the training, because you have to put the experience without in means like you are saying like you have gone through the training in your resume and you are an end user and you are searching for the job, you never get a job. Honestly, I'm saying to you. Okay, the minimum criteria to pick up the resume by an employer is at least 2 years. Okay, if you have 2 years of experience, the job requirements are also coming in the job portals the same way. Okay, minimum 2 years experience, otherwise no, this is not possible. Okay, so anyways, you can call to me later on after the call. Okay, after this session I'll just guide you on how to go ahead with this one. We have sorted out so many issues like these also. Okay, and there are a lot of successful procurement consultants, like only procurement, like your profile I'm talking about, we have successfully placed them also. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Okay, Vishnu, thank you. Next is Angala Promise. Okay, one second. Can you just unmute yourself?
Hello. Thank you.
I
Is it
can't.
audible?
Yes, it's pretty much audible. Yeah,
Yeah,
please
this
go
is
ahead.
Sangala Permission. Thanks for your demo section. It seems to be good and easily
Thank
understandable.
you.
Thanks for Manoj. And
Yeah,
I have a question that I don't know. I have used SAP as an end user
yeah.
for the past for the last. It's before 6 years back, and at present I am not using much more into SAP, but I want to switch my career into SAP. So I have some procurement knowledge and I have done some vendor management this and all. So I came to know about Ariba, and I am planning to switch over my career to Ariba. So is it good for me to proceed with Ariba?
Now, Angala Parasharaman, I will say you one thing. First and foremost thing is like if you have decided that you are going to basically move into SAP consulting. Now, compared to MM or sourcing and procurement, sourcing and procurement is nothing but the old wine in a new bottle, right? So it's nothing but the MM only, but in S4, SAP has renamed it to sourcing and procurement. So rather than going for these two things, if you basically think that you will move into consulting, I will suggest Ariba, because that is where your future will be secured. But again, let me give you some facts, you know, upfront. So the first and foremost thing is like, again, when you are going for an interview, they will point out that you are not having the consulting skills. That means you have not done implementation project. Same thing Iraj also said, like you need to basically show that at least 2 years of experience you're having. But remember, once again, the fact and foremost thing is you have to basically convince the interviewer that yes, you can basically work as a consultant. Of course, maybe you will become as a junior consultant, not an issue. But during the interview, this will be a little bit of blocking points in clearing your interview, until unless you devise certain strategies to basically remove it. or by showing that you are having at least 2.5 years of experience.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I understood. Hope. How do you help me regarding that? That's the thing which I'm asking. And
See, I can basically help you on this part. See, remember, uh, this training sessions, if you look at the things, so what I am doing, I am basically dumping my 8.5 years of experience in Ariba into the sessions. Okay, so if you can understand this particular points over there in our session, go through the recording multiple times and understand this thing, so you can very easily justify 2.5 years of experience in SAP Ariba. Actually, what we say is like the knowledge which we are basically explaining in our sessions. If you can basically understand the full knowledge, you can show 5+ years of experience in SAP Ariba. But 100%, you cannot remember it during the interview. Why? Because we are all a little bit nervous. So maybe 70%, 80%. So in that case, I suggest 4 years. You put 4+ years of experience in SAP Ariba. But for you, yes, this knowledge, if you can understand this thing properly, very easily you can basically tell to the interview, as well as make them understand that yes, you are having a experience in Ariba for 2.5 to 3 years at least. But there is a separate block. See, from knowledge perspective, you'd be able to convince the interviewer in that say way. But in your CV also, you have to justify that you have worked for 2.5 to 3 years, because there will be certain background check, right? Once you clear the interview and join them, there will happen. So that particular part you have to basically manage somehow. But from a knowledge perspective, in clearing the interview as well as working in the project, this sessions is more than enough.
yeah, okay, okay, understood. I understood. And for the thing, we need to be practical, right? For as you said in the training itself, uh, what like mugging and vomiting, like whatever you are having theoretical knowledge, we need to do practicals, right? How it would be the session also would be like that. I want
Yeah,
to like.
session will be,
Uh,
today basically we have not shown you the session
yeah,
system.
yeah,
Why? Because today was the starting demo session over there, right? So in our next session on Saturday, you will see that we are starting with the system, and our last session on Ariba will also end in the system. So that means there will be no session in between these 6 weeks, that we are going to not open up the Ariba system, and we are not going to show you everything. We will show it in Ariba. But remember, so in each of our session, we are going to basically talk about the issues which we faced in front of the client, and how we formed a solution and how we applied that solution in the system. So that means what we have done in the project. That is what we are going to see. And the same thing you have to say in the interview, as well as you have to do in the project as well.
yeah. Okay, okay, okay. And at last, I believe that as you also said, you want to be a mentor rather than a professor lecturer, and I also agree with that.
Yeah.
And I am also looking for. I believe that I strongly believe that one who have an interest, and if he is also a very slow learner or something, basically I will say I will take some more time to learn something, or once it's done, I will be okay. That's the kind of guy I am. So I believe that by having a good mentor, and we can win. So I'm looking for a very good mentor who uh, patiently answer me. And moreover, you also have some your personal timings and your working timings and your regular timings. So I expect that I want help to clarify my doubts, or in practically or theoretically, and till my getting placed. That's the thing which I'm expecting from a mentor.
Yeah,
What do
yeah,
you say
sure,
about it?
sure. We do help our participants over there in whatever maybe the things which they are done, where they need help. So basically, we will also give you a dedicated email ID also. Once you basically complete our session, or in between the session also, we will give you an email ID. So you can basically, share me your issues, or whatever the problems or concerns which you're facing in that email. I will basically have a look at that, and I will basically shoot you email back with the solution. That we can do it. Or else during the sessions, if you have basically put some questions over there, so in that case, when the next session will happen, there I will basically clarify your doubts or concerns over there. Once our session ends also, through the email, I can basically clear all your concerns as well as the issues as well.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that. Patiently answering my questions. Thank you.
Yeah. Welcome. Welcome,
Yeah.
welcome. Yeah. Jitendra, can you please go ahead with your query?
Hello. Hi, Manoj. Good morning.
Yeah. Hello,
Hello.
Jitendra. Yeah.
Yeah. Manoj, actually, I just want to tell you that I'm working as a junior ARIBA consultant uh, in a company. Recently, I joined this company, and I'm facing one issue that there's a CIG upgradation going on. So the team is, my manager is asking me to check this whether this upgradation is working fine or not. So can you please give me this idea that how I can check this completely CIG upgradation is working fine or not?
Okay, so first and foremost thing, that whatever configuration and other stuff which you have done for CI9, okay, so it will never be valid. So what will happen is like, see, for the CIG, what will happen, the cloud connector will be installed by the basis consultant. They will also install the ERP add-on, right? Now once
Yes.
they have done this particular thing, they will basically set up a connection in the CIG with the backend system. Once that is done, what you need to do as a integration consultant, you need to start with the CIG CIG add-on configuration in S4 site, right? So there you will basically see SPRO, integration with other component, ARIBA CIG, cloud integration gateway will be there. There will be certain 5-6 steps. So those 5-6 steps you have to basically configure again newly. Please don't expect that from CA9 it will get automatically get copied. It won't get copied. You have to do each of the configuration step one by one. Once that is done,
Yes.
then basically in the cloud connector you have to set up the mapping. Once that is done, then in the Ariba buyer side you have to basically create an endpoint and activate those endpoints. That's it. So once this three step is done, then your CIG will work. So always remember one thing: when you're moving from CI9 to CIG, please don't expect that it is a technical upgrade. Think of it like a greenfield implementation. Certain fields like logical system, service users, those things will be automatically, can be reused. Very good. But that is like only 10%. 90% of the configurations and all those stuff has to be done newly. So please don't expect that from CNN it will get copied.
Okay. Got it. Thank you, Manoj.
Yeah. Welcome, Jitendra. Okay. Uh, Ganesh, can you please go ahead with your query?
Hey, hi Manoj. Thanks
Hey, hello,
for your
Ganesh.
time today. So I have a few questions.
Yeah.
Uh, First is related to the time zones, the logistics for this training. So
Yeah.
is it going to be like every Saturday, 3 hours?
Yeah, it will be on Saturday and Sunday, this time only. It will be 3 hours, basic 3 hours.
Hello.
Sometimes it can also increase to somewhere like
Okay.
3 hours 15 minutes or 3 hours 30 minutes, depending on the topics which we are basically teaching over there. So as of now, we are planning for Saturday and Sundays only,
Okay.
on 3 hours each every week.
Okay. Okay. And I was actually looking for a weekdays batch. So is there any parallel other running sessions?
Uh, Ganesh, as of now, we don't have any plan for the weekdays batch. Previously, we have
Okay.
taken it and might be in the future over there, but as of now, we are not basically, what you can say, thinking about it. But maybe, like in near future, maybe in September or October we might take a decision. But I will suggest why
Okay.
you will wait till September or October. Weekends
No,
are
no, that
basically
doesn't.
like he will be having some time. So weekend I think would be good. But if you can hold out for 2 3 months, then afterwards we can take a decision. But again, if the decision is no, then you have to come on the weekends also.
No, that's fine. So just wanted to check. Yeah, okay. So basically, on the weekends, we go through the session, and then throughout the week, we can do the practice, and I think that's how
Exactly.
this
See,
will work. Hmm.
that is why we have specifically, strategically, we have taken this decision that we are going to do it on Saturday, Sunday, so that Monday to Friday, every day 1 hour, if you are giving your focus, you will get 5 hours in between this session. So 5 to 6 hours is more than enough.
Okay. Okay. So then 7:30 a.m. IST. Are you like outside of based out of India, or you are outside India?
Yeah, I'm based out of India, Gurgaon only.
Gurgaon only. Okay. Okay. So
Yeah.
7:30 morning. Okay. Fine. Okay. So that's the first thing. The second thing is on more from the project management side. So I'm coming with experience on SAP. I have the project experience of 14 plus years of experience, but not on
Okay.
sourcing and procurement. I'm coming more from the SAP SD sales and distribution and
Okay.
CRM side. So
Okay.
on the Ariba side, wanted to understand whether you would be covering the project cycle of any Ariba projects, like how many, what's the ideal duration for a go live, and how does this happens, and also the documentations which like kind of templates, config documentations, training documentations, um, and requirement
Okay.
documentation and so on. I mean,
Okay. So
you
first
have
and
those
foremost thing,
kind of assets.
yeah. Yeah, first of all, Ganesh, let me
Hmm.
just clarify certain things over there. So, project life cycle, we cannot basically talk about the full project life cycle end to end. But like,
Hmm.
the prepare phase, the explore phase, the realization phase, build phase, deploy phase. Yes, these are the phases which we can discuss a little bit during our integration session. But I am more
Okay.
interested in showing you the nitty-gritties of Ariba. Nitty-gritties of Ariba means,
Correct.
let's say, for example, your client will basically come to you and they will say, scenario one, okay, in level one, okay, within the region India, if any user belongs to purchasing organization Delhi, so for that PR, level one will
Hmm.
be approved by Manoj. If any user is belonging from purchasing organization Mumbai, approver will be ARAJ. Or if the purchasing organization is belonging to Hyderabad, so approval will be Sana. So this kind of requirement will come from the client. So how will you basically accommodate that thing in the system so that when you go into a project, okay, what will happen is like you will not panic seeing this kind of requirement because majority of the Ariba
Correct.
functional consultant they will
Correct.
panic. Hey, what is this? For this we need source code changes. Why we will do source code changes? We cannot do that. Again, we have to tell Ariba, but it is possible through functional configuration itself. So that is why my goal is to go into in-depth things which I have seen in the project and tell you those things. But there will be certain documents. We will also share you a PDF, um, a lot of PDF documents, standard documents. Within those documents, you can basically understand that what are the different project phases in Ariba. It's almost like SAP Activate technology methodology only we will use. So it's simple. You can read
Okay.
that thing,
SAP
you can
Active.
understand this thing. But this knowledge, like level one within that three condition, based on that three different approvals.
Correct. Correct.
So those things are the things which we are going to go into deeper. So that because see, for you, you are already a Ariba consultant, right? You are already
Hmm.
SAP
Hmm. Hmm.
consultant, right? But an SD consultant. Now you
Hmm.
want to
Hmm.
basically move into Ariba. So for
Correct.
you, you can basically show the consulting skills. Hey, boss, I am a consultant. Now, what will happen for you? The only challenge which you're having is to show experience on Ariba side. That means in the interview that hey, I am having knowledge in Ariba. So that is where our training comes into this picture. So if you can follow the training, if you can understand the training, you can very easily justify 3 to 4 years of experience in Ariba itself.
Okay, okay. And one is the implementation, the support. Support also is like any other project. It continues, right?
The support is also there, but again, Ariba supports are challenging compared to a normal SAP on-premise solutions over there. So,
Okay.
so our solutions which we are going to present in our each of the system, it will help you in implementation as well as in your
Mm.
support project as well. That how to basically tackle those things.
Okay, okay, okay. And also, I'm looking for certification. So it's good that you have all the artifacts which will help me in
Yeah, but
clearing the
remember
certification.
one thing:
Um,
don't set up your certification date until and unless you went through our full session. See, the methodology which I will always ask our
mm,
participant to follow, and that has given 100% result. That is, go through our session,
okay.
understand the full sessions. Okay, once those full sessions you have understood, then go through the certification material, go through those certification material, and then there are dumps, those real dumps, that means
Mm,
real question which came into SAP Ariba certifications, practice them out. Once you practice them out, you will go and you will clear the certification in one go. You don't have to think of it like, oh, 2 3 times I have to give. In one go only you will be clearing it, but you have to follow this methodology. Why? Because this methodology has always given positive result whenever participant has listened to this thing.
sure, Manoj. I think this was helpful. The one more part is the CIG part. So I think yeah, I'm in the right place because I have attended others sessions also, but I feel like they were not very much confident on the CIG part. It's more on the procurement side, strategy side, sourcing side. Not
Yeah,
procurement, but more on the
because
sourcing side. So
ultimately, yeah, ultimately in the CIG, this is the main part, right? Integration scenario building. Once you know the integration scenario building, now you know what to do in the cloud connector, what to do in the ERP add-on for CIG configuration. You know what to do. But if you don't know the scenario building,
correct.
whether it's cloud integration adapter 9, CI9 or CIG, it does not matter. In computer language, what we say, wrong input, no matter how much of processing you do, will give wrong output.
Mm,
So that is why integration scenario
okay.
building, mass data load, and CIG configuration, when we will involve these three things, then what will happen? You can go into any project and you can do the CIG integration very, very easily.
And you will also cover the migration projects aspect also, right? So because I think that's something
Migration
which now
project,
every company is.
you're talking about rollout, right?
Uh, yeah, I mean those companies who don't have Ariba and now they are
Okay,
planning
okay,
to
okay. Yeah.
move
Yeah. So
towards
that is
Ariba.
basically rollout. Yeah. So let's say, for example, you have
Okay.
gone live in India and US region. Now you want to basically go live in the Europe region. So that is a rollout. So
Hmm.
yes,
Hmm.
that also we will understand.
Okay. 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 Yeah. Thanks, Manoj. Thanks for all the details. My only concern was with the timings, but I think yeah, I can I can do it. So thanks,
Yeah,
Manoj.
but
Thanks for your time.
remember, Ganesh, this is a very strategic time. So yes, I know there will be certain issues with certain clients if they're basically coming from Europe or US or maybe from Southeast Asia,
Correct.
specifically from the Southeast Asia. If you're coming, like it will be a odd time zone. For US, it will be okay. Europe also, it will be very odd time zone. But then again, we have kept these
Correct.
sessions very strategically placed. Why? Because from Monday to Friday, once you come back from the office, you would be able to give 1.5 hour each day. So that means the timings between the end of one week and the starting of another week, you're getting at least five
Hmm.
hours or maximum it can go to 8 hours or 7.5 hours. So if you are able to put 7.5 to 8 hours every week, what will happen? You will be able to understand each and everything, which will help you tremendously. So that is why we have put this thing strategically. If we take this thing on weekdays, then with Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, what will happen is like on Saturday, Sunday, you won't be able to practice everything. And what will happen next week? You will forget what happened in the previous week.
Sure. Yep. Yep. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, Manoj. Thanks for your time. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Welcome, Ganesh. Okay. Ram, can you please go ahead with your query?
Hey, Manoj, are you able to hear me?
Yeah. 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 I'm able to hear you, Ram. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Okay. Yeah, so I have a couple of questions here. So, yeah, you know that, right? The
Yeah.
ARIBA has seven process, and the main process, which is start with the catalog or content-based requisition. But we didn't talk about
Yeah.
anything about the guided buying or spot buying. So, are you
Okay.
actually going to cover that one uh, in this session?
Yes, guided buying, right now what is happening, guided buying access is not provided by us to Ariba right now. So what we do in our previous batches, when we had that particular, what you can say, the access. So we have done the admin activities and all the setting of tiles and everything, right? So that we will share it with you. Why? Because if I don't have that particular access, I won't be able to show it to you. So that recording, live recording of this guided buying administration, like tiles configurations, then we are basically talking about uh, policies configuration and all those stuff. So it is there in one recording, and we will share it with you guys, so which you can use. That's the first thing. Spot by catalogs, on the other hand, it is involved. It is present within the catalog session itself. So when I said catalog config, by default, spot by catalogs will also come into the picture.
Okay. So, do you have the means real time like eBay or those type of the catalogs in
No, no,
our
it
in the
will never be real time. It will not be real time. It will be
Mhm.
like because we don't have access to production, right? So yes, spot buy is present, and from eBay also there will be what you can say, like demo items which will be present, which you can basically see in the system also in the spot buy catalog section.
Okay. Uh, yeah. So you are saying that we don't have the even for this access, we don't have the guided buying. Like we don't do
No,
any
no.
configuration for UI or JSON options. Those things we can't do, right?
Yeah, we cannot do in our system. Why? Because as I said, this is a training system, and Ariba
Mhm.
does not give guided buying for training system. So that is why this is the issue. But again,
Mhm.
we have a live recording of our sessions involving all the configuration and guided buying. So that we are going to basically share it with all of you guys, so that you can see that thing and you can do the configuration.
Okay. Yeah, because guided buying is a big thing right now going on everywhere. Yes, okay. The another
Yeah,
thing is that you know that SAP release every quarterly, right? The stay current and then update those things. So
huh.
if we actually the documentation, talking about the documentation or the new training, which is actually you cover some of the stay current, right? So this in the that folder, right? You are actually
Yeah.
giving the access to the folder, whether it will be the latest training and the documentation is also available or only the training which is actually we attended.
Okay, so for the first and foremost thing, the recordings will be only of this particular batch. The recordings
Mhm.
won't be basically be given for another batch. But yes, if there is any major change, now we know that Ariba basically comes up with quarterly update. But remember that those are not feature updates. Those are basically small UI changes or certain basic things which will not affect your whole process. So Ariba generally releases something which is called as a big update, and that update is like something like new functionality kind of thing. But that will be almost like once in a year or maybe once in a 2 year kind of thing. So those things, once it happens, so what happens is like then we basically will come up with new things, and once it comes up with new things, then those recordings will be shared to all of you guys when that particular thing will be coming, and we will be taking it in our session. It will be shared as an update to all of you guys.
Okay, so okay, the forget about the training, right? So let's talk about the documents. So you have the
Yeah.
learning access, right? The hub access. So you will getting the latest stay current documentation. So that folder will be updated with the latest document as well, or it's a
Yeah.
uh,
It will be updated. Yeah, it will be
uh,
updated.
okay. Yeah, but see, for that's what I'm pointing about the guided ARIBA buying. In recent tab, even stay current, right? So they have actually more
Hmm.
focus on the spot buy and the guided buying because it's everybody is actually asking that one is the good feature
Yeah.
from the ARIBA, and
Yeah.
they basically they actually making the major changes, not the minor UI changes actually, particularly in the guide. But
Hmm.
yes, I agree with that with you about the all the existing the standard process. They are not making much changes or just that trying to see the user friendly in the existing one, but guided buying is coming the major one. That's what actually asked that question. But
Yeah.
okay, so
But
probably
if you see one thing now,
hmm,
guided buying actually it's nothing but a user interface, right?
correct.
It's a user interface. So when you go for any downstream implementation, catalogs configuration, catalogs loading, or even spot by catalogs configuration, even the approval configuration. So every configuration for the downstream related stuff, you will do it from the classical UI downstream. That means as a functional consultant. Now coming back to the guided buying, it will be given to the casual user. That means the normal end user who will be doing the PR as well as the PO and GR stuff. So from invoice onwards, what will happen? They need to use the classical UI, invoice reconciliation, payment. If they want to basically do the reconciliation or certain thing exceptions comes, they have to basically work in the classical UI side. So yes, you're correct that majority of the client is asking for guided buying. But remember, in guided buying, what we will do, we will set up different tiles. Then we will basically set up some policies. Then we'll set up some forms over there. And once that is done, that we will basically share it with the casual users. So ultimately, when you go to any project, you have to do all the downstream related configurations in classical UI. So that is irrespective whether your client is going to use guided buying or not. That's the first thing. Second thing is, once your client say, okay, I'm going to use guided buying, yes, there will be certain extra configuration which we need to perform in guided buying, and those configuration we will provide you in our session recordings, which we have taken from a live session when we used to have access.
Okay, and how old is that the session guided buying session? Is it the latest one or it's a quite old one? Because there are quite a feature there is reset, and my all questions are related with the uh, config. Okay, not as the end user, right? So I'm looking about the config one where we can actually, because you are not giving the access
Yeah.
to that server access, right? Basically, my main focus for this training is the access actually, because just wanted to go for guided buying more deeply, but we are not getting that one.
Yeah, because that we don't have. This is not a project system which we are sharing with all of you guys. This is a specific training system which Ariba is giving to us. Now Ariba is basically switching off the guided buying. So for the last 1 year they have basically switched it off. So that is why we cannot basically say to them that you give us, because they will say, if you are a organization, business organization who is going to implement Ariba for the business use, then yes, we are going to give it to you, or else if it is for training, we are not going to give it. That's the first thing. And second thing, from a configuration point of view, I think within the 1 year, from a configuration perspective, it has not changed much. Certain feature from a end user perspective, it has been added, like team buying or team receiving. So this particular functionality is new thing within the 1 year which has came up over there. So you have to basically set up a team, and then basically you have to enable the team buying option. So what will happen is, like, team buying will be uh, activated on all your PRs. But that is from a functional, not from functional perspective, but from a end user perspective. But the configuration, which as a functional consultant, which you have to do in guided buying within the 1 year, last 1 year, it is almost same.
Mm, okay, I think we can discuss that separately because I have a lot of things about the guided buying. Okay, yeah. The another thing is you are saying that okay, the questions, right? What are the
Yeah.
questions? So at the end, so whether is that the session is you decided for 3 hours, 3.5 hours, and there's a half an hour session, because during the session, if you are actually not unmuting, so we cannot raise the question if you not understood a particular concept at that point, right? So it will be at the end actually.
No, no, no. Again, remember, when we will be having our sessions, two things
Hmm.
will be coming into the picture. If you are not understanding something, you can basically type in the chat box that I did not understand this point. So I'm going to repeat it. But if you are having a specific question regarding the scenario that, okay, if you are saying 3 levels, very good. But what will happen if we are having 5 levels of approval workflow? So this kind of question we will answer at the end of the session, when we will have a question answer session specifically devoted for that.
Okay, I think okay, with that option works actually. So coming back to the server access, right? So whether
Yeah.
we'll get the full access, right, upstream and downstream, or do you have any limitation?
Yes, you will basically have the upstream and downstream access over there. Only
Hmm.
thing is, like, you will not get the guided by, you will basically have the code administration as well as administration access.
Okay. And so this is access is only for SAP Ariba, so we don't have any access to like ECC like S4 and those things, right? So how will you going to actually any backend you are going to show us, whether we are going to go in the system and show us the integration configuration at in the ECC?
No, 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 no. So there will be no S4 connected with our system. Why? Again, because
Correct.
this is a training system. So
Right.
as you have seen, Eras has shown the document, right? For CIG, we have a separate step-by-step configuration document. So there, what I have done in my project, I have taken a screenshot of each of the configuration, and I have basically described them. So in our CIG configuration, when you will basically go specifically for the S4 add-on, right? ERP add-on
Hmm.
configuration for
Yeah.
CIG will be there, where you need access to S4. So I have taken the screenshot of each of them, and with that particular screenshot, I'm going to basically explain what are the configuration which you need to do and how you need to do it.
Okay. And I believe that's will be the whatever the latest one, right? So it's not for
Yeah, yeah, it's the
other.
latest.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the latest one. Yeah,
Okay. I think yeah, Manoj, uh, except the guided buying, I think we are okay. Yeah. Thanks.
yeah. Welcome now.
No problem.
Yeah, sorry, Manoj, I was in another call. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Not an issue.
uh,
Yeah.
so just to add the few things here, guys. So the guided buying, as Vinod was saying, so it was there, but it's not like on every project. Maybe for his one, there is necessity of going for the guided buying. But correct me if I'm wrong, Manoj. So not every project is going to be, majorly focusing on guided buying.
Yeah, guided by actually eras is, it's not being used in every project. That's the first thing. And the second thing is, like, remember, within Ariba consultant also you will have different categories. So first one is junior, second one is mid level, third one is senior, and then we will have lead consultant. So guided buying is like a advanced thing of Ariba. So my suggestion to all of you guys would be, just focus on the normal Ariba. Don't go into guided buying immediately. Why? Because what will happen is, like, yes, if you are having 4 years of experience in Ariba, real experience in Ariba, then you want to go into guided buying, very good. But if you are not having experience in Ariba or very less experience, after doing this session, I will suggest going to upstream and downstream. Don't go into guided buying. Why? Because it's a bit complex. So that is why it is falls under the advanced Ariba topics. So that's a separate session, separate thing altogether. Like, so that is why we always say to our participant that if you are having 4 years of experience in SAP Ariba, then you should basically focus on the advanced thing in Ariba. But the first and foremost thing, when you go to a major project as a junior consultant or a mid-level consultant, you have to focus on the upstream and downstream and the integration. And these are the things which you will be doing. Nobody will be giving you the guided buying or asking you to do the configuration. Yeah. So that's
Yes,
that's the main thing over here. It is.
yes, Manoj, very well, rightly said. Yeah, we have Vinod lastly here to I have unmuted you. You need to unmute yourself and ask the question.
Yeah, I just wanted to know if it was possible to prepone the timing little bit, say 7 o'clock Indian time, because that suits me better if it was possible at all.
We wish we know that we really want, but these timings are, we are stick to this one for quite long, and the other part is like the participants from other countries are also joining. So keeping all those things in mind, so we have scheduled this training these timings very lately. Yeah, so that's the
Oh,
thing.
okay, thanks.
Sorry to say that.
No, that's fine.
So I think, Manoj, we have taken up all the queries from everyone. So guys, if you are
Yeah.
having any more such queries, you can uh, raise your hands, or you can connect me even after the sessions also. I'm just posting my number over here. This is +91 840 8878 222. So this number is on, you can direct call or WhatsApp also. Okay. So I'm just posting my number here to everyone. So please make a note of this one. And even after the training also, like after this session, so you can even connect to me if you are having any more queries. We have Baswaraj. Yeah, Baswaraj, you have any query to ask? I have unmuted you. Yeah, Baswaraj, you need to unmute yourself.
Basavaraj, I think you need to unmute yourself. You can
Okay,
see
okay,
that mic option.
okay, I can see it now. I am
Yeah,
unmuted
yeah.
myself.
We are able to hear you
Thank you,
now. Yeah.
Manoj and Airaj, for this wonderful demo. I have one question. Basically, when we're talking about training the entire Ariba integrated with ECC or S4. So what I understood previously is the training is mostly on the Ariba system. And how do we get the feeling of the process running end to end? Be it is the PR to PO conversion where which happens in ECC or GR process or invoicing part. How do we see or visualize if we do not have access to the integrated ECC or S4 system, or will have some ECC connection in the background if I misunderstood something in the past?
No, Basavaraj, let me clarify over there. So remember, as I said, whenever we are doing an integration between ERP and Ariba, remember that why we do the integration with ERP. So if you ask me this question from an integration perspective, I will say, and specifically, the client will also say that we want to capture the data just so that the payment can happen properly or for reporting purposes. What happens is like whenever you are basically having an Ariba, you will do the full procurement rather
Hmm.
than the last payment. You will do the full procurement in Ariba, but
Hmm.
you will see that when we are going to the integration scenario, PO will be created in Ariba. So client
Hmm.
will say, send a PO copy to S4. Don't
Okay.
edit it. It
Hmm.
won't be editable. It will be read only. Okay.
Hmm.
Similarly,
Hmm.
when we will do the GR in Ariba, send a read only copy of the GR to S4.
Hmm.
Similarly, the invoice will be created in Ariba. Send a read only copy of the invoice to Ariba. Sorry, S4.
Yes.
Why?
Okay. Hmm.
Because the payment will happen, right? So payment will happen against a PO and against an invoice. So if this data, even as a read-only copy, is not present in S4, what will happen is like your payment will fail. That is the
Okay.
point of doing the integration. So why we do the integration? So that the data between both the system are in sync. But remember, Ariba is always the leading system in procurement. Leading system means 99% of the transactional document will be created in Ariba, and certain of the document we will just copy it into S4 so that when the payment happen in S4, it does not fail. Otherwise, if this kind of issue was not there, then only the payment part we could have integrated.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that is why
Understood. Hmm.
we have to basically focus majorly on the Ariba.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. Thank you. And one more last question, and it's mentioned
Yeah,
that so during the training we will get 2 months of access to the server. Are there
yeah.
any? I mean, in future, if I need something, is there a possibility I can get access, or is it possible you can support with any contact person who can support in installing it in our personal computers,
Uh,
laptops?
First, yeah, this is a very good question, Masavara. Now, if you need a access, let's say after completion of this session, you need, let's say, for 1 week. So we can provide you that. But let's say after the completion of this session, if you say that I will need access for another 1 month or maybe 2 months, so that will be paper basis. Okay, so that
Okay.
means you have to pay a little bit extra. So we will
Mm.
provide access for that. 7 to 10 days, we will not charge anything. But if you're saying
Okay.
like 1 month or maybe 2 months, you have to pay a little bit
Mm.
extra for that. We will basically
Mm.
provide you with access. That's the first thing. Second thing, we cannot install Ariba in any system. Similarly, remember the remote connection which we are going to give to you over there.
Mm.
Remember that will be only for accessing Ariba. But remember, Ariba is not installed in that. It's for the
Mm. Yeah.
security purpose we are doing it. So Ariba is a
Mm.
cloud solution, so we cannot install it in any application. Only
Mm.
the Google Cloud server. There,
Mm.
this Ariba will be, installed,
Mm.
which we will
Mm.
never have the access over there. So that is
Mm.
why always
Mm.
remember the remote desktop, it does not have the Ariba installed in that. We are
Mm.
accessing Ariba through a secure environment. That is why we are giving the remote desktop. Remember, remote desktop does not mean here that Ariba is installed. It is just for
Mm.
accessing Ariba securely.
Mm.
But there
Okay.
also we will use browser only.
Mm.
There is
Yeah.
no application
Understood.
installed in that.
Yeah, understood. Understood. Understood.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I what I understood is that access is this possible in future additional and the pay.
Yeah, 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 of
Good.
course. That is what I
Yeah.
said.
Please. Yeah. Okay.
To add your words, Manoj here. Sorry to interrupt you guys. So the thing
No,
here
no,
is
not an
like
issue.
that also based upon the availability. I can say Baswaraj. Sorry, is who is talking now? Baswaraj, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Basavaraj.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Understood.
Basavaraj.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, sorry, Baswaraj. So it depends upon the availability. Let's say, for example, now you have enrolled. Now that the your access would be for next 2 months, right? So
Mm.
on the third month, if you want to take it, so it depends. Like because we do have approximately 60 instances, okay, in a month. So if
Mm.
sometimes during a month there are 60, all the 60 enrollments have been done, so
Mm.
we'll not be able to provide you the access on that particular
Mm.
month. It's not like consistently, for if you're looking for 5 months or 6 months consistently access, so that
Mm.
may not be possible, because that
Okay.
may or may not be possible. I can say that depends upon
Mm.
totally on the availability of the accesses, because we need to give the priority for the ongoing trainees, rather like who
Mm.
has already been done. Everybody is same for us, but the priority would be, we need to work on the priority basis because of the limit.
Understood.
Yeah, but
There
remember,
will be like,
Basuraj, like you have to wait for a few moments over there, or like let's say for example, one of our batch started over there, right? So 60 licenses are occupied. So you just wait for 1 month. After that, what will happen is like our licenses will get empty. So at that
Mm.
point of time, you will get access. So the access extension, it also depends on the license availability. So if there is a license available, right, we will immediately give the access. If it is not, then
Mm.
you have to wait for some time, then we will give it.
Okay, understood. And if no, I mean, if not, it's let's say after 6 months. Are there any possibilities that one person, individual, can get these accesses on private basis?
no, not possible,
Mm.
because you need to pay a lot. Because you see, like
Mm.
to get,
Mm.
there are certain conditions, there are a lot of terms and conditions. First is like, you should be an implementation partner, and
Mm.
you should be a registered implementation partner with SAP. And after that, you
Mm.
need to pay the quarterly fee of more than 33,000 euros. So that will come approximately 7 to 8 lakh Indian currencies, more than that.
Okay.
Yes, yeah, on
Mm.
the quarterly
I mean,
basis.
it's
So
a general
that's
question,
the
right?
thing.
We get
No, no,
trained
no,
for two
it's fine,
months.
absolutely fine.
Yeah,
Yes,
right. After, but we will not be working in immediately on the project. So after
yes,
three
yes,
months or 6 months, we can forget everything. So it was
yes,
a question if there are cases that I might get project of 6 months or a year. Then if I
yes,
want to refresh myself with the knowledge or
yes,
working
yes,
experience or even hands-on. So what is the
Right.
way around?
Way around to get individually directly from SAP Ariba would be very, very costly
Yeah,
affair.
yeah.
So
No, yeah,
practically
we
it's not
cannot
possible for an
buy
individual to spend that
the
much of
license
amount.
software. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. You're right.
Mhm. So that is one limitation with this
Yes,
Ariba.
you're right, sir.
Yeah. So for ECC, anyways, we can get this installed and then practice at home always. But this
ECC
is the one.
instance you can get installed,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
ECC installation
Mm.
also is quite tricky, and they'll be
Mm.
giving the trial version for 3 months. Then again, after 3 months, you need to do the install. There are a lot of unlicensed softwares in the market because it's an on-premise solution. On-premise, anything can be done, but this is a cloud one, so all the control is there in SAP's hand over. Yeah,
So there is
so
no
it's
unlicensed version for Ariba.
there can't be.
Okay,
There
okay,
can't be.
okay, okay, okay. Then I have to find out within the
Yes,
organization
sir.
if there are any possibilities to
That's
actually
true.
practice. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Thank you so much.
All
Thank
right,
you.
guys. You're most welcome. You're most welcome. So, is there anyone else, guys? You have any queries? So we can answer. Otherwise, we can conclude the session for the day. The next session would be on next week, Saturday. Okay, so that's going to be on 16th of July. We'll be having the session. So during this week, I means like whoever willing to do the enrollment, you can connect me or directly connect with our business team, business relationship executives who are in touch with you maybe for the enrollments. So please go ahead, and you can, if you are feel like it's really going to be worthful for you, then
I
only
think
go
I
for the.
think to add to you, Eraj,
Yes.
guys, I will suggest please do the registration as soon as possible. Why? Because I will tell you. Because due to some limitation, we don't take more than 15 people in our batches. Why? Because like it would be too much big, and it would be unmanageable. So my suggestion is, the more you can basically come quickly and basically register, what will happen is like before filling up this 15 seats, what will happen? You will be sure that he will be present in this batch. Once this 15 participant basically joins our batch, what happens is like it would be very difficult for us to manage it over there. So my suggestion is please do join early.
Yes, yes, yes. So it's on first come first serve basis, guys. So as Manoj has said very rightly, so once the enrollments of 15 are done, so we close the further registrations for this one. Yeah. Anyways,
So we
thank you
again
so
need to
much,
wait for the next batch.
guys. Right, right, right. And I have pinged my number over there. If you have any further queries, you can connect me anytime between like morning 7 a.m. till night 10 p.m. Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate your time, and thank you so much, Manoj, for your
Yeah,
valuable and very knowledgeable session for the day today. So it was really helpful for everyone, as always. And
as I
as
said,
always,
Era,
you're
it's,
having
it's
a
it's it's a
lot of
teamwork. It's a great teamwork.
participants. Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you,
Yeah,
Manoj.
yeah,
Thanks a lot.
yeah. Thanks,
Thanks
Era.
to you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.